Okay. Hi guys. Yes, walaikum salam. Okay. Start doing this question. It's an easy question. I'll start the discussion at around 5. Okay. If you're done with this question, raise a hand in Zoom. So the online people, I already gave you all these questions to do. Oh shoot, physical people haven't done this part. No. Wait. My bad. Wait. Don't do that question. Walaikum salam. Give me a moment. Ta-dum. Give me a moment. Oh, until I see the face, I do not know. I'm very bad with names. Give me a moment, guys. Give me a moment. I'll share the paper later. So this is a what do you call Vishaka paper. Let's come to the MCQ later. All of you will start doing the part 2 question. There is 1, 2, 3, 5 questions. I'll give you 5, 10 if you need more. Do these questions now. Once you're done with the question, raise a hand in Zoom. So if you need more time, let's see, okay? Walaikum salam. Hadar, how do you do these questions so quickly? Just no screen share. I must rename your name. Should we do the whole page? Yeah. 5 questions basically, and all based on grade, which you all know already. So yeah, start doing it. So you have the paper class writing book, right? So though you make your maintain a writing book for papers. So take your paper class writing book, write the topic as Vishaka Vidyalaya 2025 paper, part 2, question 1 kill, write the and start. Yes, the whole thing itself can see that screenshot. There are 5 questions here, all 5 do. My image is stuck. Let me switch networks for a moment. Mic testing one, two, three. How is it now? How is am I still lagging? Washdi and Zohra? It's still stuck. How about now? Perfect. Arya. Okay, all of you will do this question quickly. There is 5 questions here. Once done, raise your hand in Zoom. Huh? Any questions up in the chat? Others start doing this quickly. All of you. Bhai Rushda. Surya, I will reply. There is around 500 plus messages I had to reply. Like if I take both I had 3 WhatsApps. The third WhatsApp, I don't know what's the state of it. It's been several months since I opened it. Out of my 2 WhatsApp, both has 490 odd messages. So almost 1,000 chats I had not replied. I'll reply soon. Sorry for the delay. Oh, is it Rishta? I wish I can remove my brain and fix it to a computer temporarily and make that computer reply. Or I can do it, but there are issues. Within that day, reply to my chat. Fun fact, Shaz, I did not read everything in that. I just skimmed through it. Anyways, quickly do this question. All of you, once done, raise your hands up. There's 1 more minute. Do you all think that you can finish in 1 more minute, or do you all want some more time? If you want some more time, can you let me know in the chat how long do you need extra? Yes, Zura. Those are still doing, can you let me know how long you will know because it's 5:10 now. 2 more minutes. Okay. I'll discuss at 5:15. Quickly finish the question, all of you. Some are already done, others don't waste time. Hurry up. If majority are done, I'll do before 4:15 itself. Sorry, 5:15 itself. It depends on the approach you follow, Shah. There are certain approaches you can do where they will not know, and a certain approach they will know. So it depends on the approach you follow. Anyways, if you do this question, all of you, I'll meet you all at 5:15. Those who are done with the five questions, raise your hand in Zoom. Make sure that you take your paper class writing book and copy it. If there's anyone who is new, who does not know the process, you'll have to maintain a separate writing book for paper class and write the answers all there. I'll be sharing the questions and the paper all in the group. You don't have to have the paper with you physically. You can just refer to the links. If you really want, you can get it printed or whatever. Not important. So if there's anyone of you who is not in the group, I'll share the link in the chat so you can use that and join. We have 2 more minutes. Those are done, raise your hand Zoom. Okay, your time is up. Those are done, raise your hands up. I want to see how many of you did. Only 8 of you have finished these questions. Again, I'm saying, guys, what do you call knowing only the answers are not going to make you all, what do you call, improve your knowledge. First thing. And second thing is, even if you don't know, sometimes while you're doing the question, at least a part of the question you'll be able to understand. So don't be like, okay, I did not understand the first question, so I'm not going to do anything. Don't have that mindset. Please make sure you go through everything. Huh? Okay, let's check your answers. Didn't. How many have done? 11. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Didn't. Walaikum salam. Okay, let's check your answers. Yeah, what do you call Lila? I gave them to do question, and the time for the questions are over. Now I'm going to start discussing that question. That's fine. Why is there a flower in your screen? Why is there a flower in my screen? Ah, that day my cousin was drawing. Last week, my cousin came, sister, she came at the end of the class. Can remember one person came when I was in uh, Beirut doing the class. So she was playing the fool with the screen. Don't worry, Ziran, my inner child is in a dream world. I draw better flowers, man. Anyways, let's focus on the context now. Okay, so basically, I gave you a do this question. It is a Vishaka Vidyalaya paper. Sorry, Vishaka is V, no? Visakha Vidyalaya. It's a second term test 2025. Second term test 2025. In dream worlds mean Jupiter Lankani. Yes, it's a beautiful world. I'll take your one day then, don't worry. You all can pay the ticket and come. It's not expensive. It's just what you called $25 million. So you can pay for the jet because we have to go in the rocket, right? So if you pay that rocket's ticket price, I can take you and go. No issues. Okay, first question. Yeah, it is not that much because y'all are all very rich people, right? First question. A hospital uses an electronic health record system. Every time doctor treats a patient, the system records the patient ID. Why isn't it getting highlighted? Then the diagnosis, the medication prescribed, and the date of visit. The system generates a monthly report for hospital administrating and administrators showing the top 10 most common illness, average prescription cost, and the patient's traffic per department. Okay, fine. Write down two pieces of information that can be obtained through the scenario. So normally, if you take what do you call, so basically not normally, if you take your what do you call this lesson or the subject called ICT, information communication technology, we're talking mainly about information, right? To create information, there is a base you need. Without it, you can't create information. What is that base? Like, what is the basic thing you need, like the smallest particle you need to form an information? Let's think about it earlier. Right. Exactly, Surya. Understandable, Hadr. Exactly. The building block of everything around you, technological thing every around you is basically data, right? So once you have a data, and let's say you process this data, after you process this data, you can obtain something called as information. Okay. So normally, when you take a system, but keep in your mind in the perspective of a system is basically like a program, an application that has three main features. It can input data, it can process data, it can output data. Okay. So if you take a system or a program, normally we use a system to obtain information. Okay. The purpose of system is mostly to obtain certain information. So in order to obtain these information, we have to feed the data for the system. We have to give the data for the system. So without giving data, you can obtain information. So we are going to go through the answers and see what are the things we're going to receive by giving data, right? So we go through this question in terms of what you call patient ID, diagnosis, medical prescribed, date of visit. These all are they inputs or are they outputs from the system? Yes, Saifur Rahman. Let's think about it actually. Correct. These things which are what you call underline, they are all basically datas. Okay, they are all actually datas, also known as inputs. The inputs I'm going to give for the system, the datas I'm inputting for the system. So after input these datas, you can see they have mentioned the system generates. That means system is going to give us a monthly report. Okay. And that monthly report is going to have the top 10 most common illness, the average prescription cost, and the patient traffics per department. So the question is saying write down two pieces of information that can be obtained through the scenario. So in this question, these are inputs we are giving: patient ID, diagnosis, medical prescription, date of visit. These are the inputs we give. And with that input we give, the output we are going to get is the monthly report. So monthly report is going to be the output. In that output we get, there are some things that the report contains, right? Those things the report contains are some informations we can obtain. Right? These are all processed information. I mean, processed data. So once you process the data, you can obtain this information. So for two pieces of information, if you mention any of these purple color underlined stuffs, that is top 10 most common illness. Then, then one is you can mention top 10 most common illness. This is one answer. Second answer is the average prescription cost. That's another information you can obtain. Average prescription cost. Also, I'll give you all a suggestion. When you are doing exam papers, better have a yellow or else orange color highlighter and highlight the important factors mentioned in the question. Patient traffic per department. Because once you do it, your questions will be, you'll be able to simplify and understand it. Patient traffic per department. So these are the possible answers. Out of these three answers, if you mention two answers, you can mention 2 marks there. Any questions you don't have there? Don't teachers say that we aren't supposed to use highlighters? Which teacher did you hear that who came and told that you can't use highlighter, man? In my life, even once I not heard that from a teacher. Can't we just underline with a pen? Underlining is not more prominent than highlighting. So if you don't have highlighter, underline, but highlighter makes things prominent. Like if I look at this page itself, I know, okay, what is what. Weird person then, Nushta. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Huh? Next, write down the binary equivalent for 112 base 10. 112 base 10. Okay, look at the number given in the question and tell me what type of number have they given here? 112 is a number that falls under which number system? You mean like while doing exam in school? Any exam you're doing? It's a decimal number. How do you know that 112 is a decimal number? What is the uh, thing you use to identify it? Perfect. This number 10 is there, right? We call that as a base. Okay, so using the base, we can figure out what number is what. So if the base is 10, that refers to as decimal number. The base is 2, it's binary. Base is 8, it's octal. Base is 16, it's hexadecimal. Okay, so based on that, let's do the question. Yes, Sosh, you can take highlighters. Now, to convert from decimal to binary, there are two methods. You all can decide what is the easiest method. Okay. One method is a division method, which is what you learn from grade 9. This is a method you all learn. Okay. You divide by 2. So when you divide 112 by 2, the answer is 55, 50, 61. So no, 55, 56. So divide by 2, 56, 0 remains. We'll make sure you divide and keep only the whole number answer. So for example, if I divide 25 by 2, it's 28. There is no balance. If I divide 28 by 2, it's basically 14. There is no balance. Divide 14 by 2. 2 times 7 is 14. 0 remains. Divide 7 by 2. Now when I divide 7 by 2, the final answer is 3.5, right? We don't write 3.5. We always make sure you write the whole number answer only, which is 3. Now, if I have the whole number answer, there will be balance, right? So 2 times 3 is 6. To get 7, the balance, I go and write it here. Okay. So divide 3 by 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 remains. Divide 1 by 2. 2 times 0 is 0. 1 remains. You do the division until you get 0 to the value in the bottom. And once you get 0, you write all the remainders from bottom to top. So that makes your answer basically 1, 2, 3, triple 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 zeros. Okay, that's the answer I'm going to get. You can take and go, Ella. This is the method you're supposed to find, right? If I got the answer correct, mark it correct, put 1 mark there. I'll tell you another method as well. If you understood, fine. If you don't understand, ignore, because that method is not there in your syllabus. So I'll just tell you all the method. If you understood, good. Now, when you take what you call, we're going to convert this decimal number to binary. No? So do that. First of all, we're going to write all the binary place values. So binary place value goes like this: 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 5, 2 to the power 6, 2 to the power 7 kilo. But this is how binary place values go. So what you're going to do is you're going to write all the binary place value that are less than or equal to the given number. Okay. So if it's less than or equal to the given number, tell me I should stop from where? Let's say if I want to write all the binary place values that are less than or equal to the given number, I should stop from where? What should be the last number? Less than or equal. There's something called graphics tab I use. I have a pen and I have a tab here. Sorry. Correct. Less than or equal means I should stop from 64. Okay. So I'm going to stop from here. So now what you do is you're going to figure out to form number 112, what are the numbers I should add together? Okay. To form the number 112, I can add 64. Let's see, should I add 32, 64, 7, 8, 9, 94, 95, 96. Okay, 96. How much more should I add? 64 plus 32 is 696. To make 102, 96. 96 plus 16, if I put 96. No, that's too much. 96 plus 8, 104. 96 plus 8 is 104. 104 plus 4 is 108. 109, 110, 111. Abdurrahman, who is that playing the fool? 3, 2, 1. Boom, removed from the group. Okay, so what I've done here is I have written all the place values that are less than or equal to the given number. I circle the numbers I should add together to form the respective number given. To form number 112, these are the numbers I should add together because 64 plus 32 is going to be 66, 76, 86, 96. 96 plus 8 is 104, and 108, 109, 110, 108, 64, 65, 66, 76, 86, 96. 96 plus 8 is 104, 108, 109, 110, 100. I made some mistake. 64 plus 32, 66, 76, 86, 96. 96 plus 16 is 96, 100. No. So 96 plus 8. Did I miss anything? No. 127 minus 16 is equal to 111. Something I'm missing. 64 plus 32 plus 6 is how much? Sorry. 64 plus 32 plus 16 is 112. My bad. If I just add these three together, I get 112. Why didn't where did my mathematical knowledge go? Sad life. Because 64, 66, 76, that is 96. 96 plus 106, 106 plus 6 is 112. Yeah. I just can add these three numbers. My bad. Okay. Because I was taking not 112, I was taking that 122 when I was adding in the mind. So basically, what I did here is I just circle the numbers I need to form the respective number given. Okay, so I can form the number 112 by adding these three numbers. Okay, up to here, you clear what I did. Step number one, I wrote all the binary place values that are less than or equal to given number. Step number two, I just circle the numbers I should add together to form the respective number. Is that clear? Okay, step number three, below the numbers you need, just write one. Below the numbers you don't need, write zero. So you got the answer. See, both the same answer, right? Triple one, four zeros, triple one, four zeros. So, this is another method you all can use if you all want. In MCQs, it's useful. Anyways, we got that answer correct. Put 1 mark there. Write down the hexadecimal equivalent for 645 base 8. Okay, let's do it. A and B. A and B. 645 base 8. They asked me to convert these to hexadecimal. If we miss to write the base in the answer, will they deduct marks? Yes, they will deduct marks. Depending on the teacher, they'll decide how much to deduct. Should show the working for that. Yeah, it's recommended to show the working. Your marks will be dependent on the marking, what you call marking scheme. Now, in this question, they haven't asked you the marking scheme. So they won't, I don't think they will make a big fuss. But if a question's, no, what do you, they not ask the workings. But in certain questions, they show the workings. So depending on the question, it can vary. To be on the safe side, please mention the workings. Yes, Shipna. Okay, first of all, tell me 644, you can see base side, it's octal number, right? So from octal, tell me, is there a direct conversion method we have to convert to hexadecimal? Can we directly convert from octal to hexa? Yes or no? No. From octal, you can't directly convert to hexa. So there are two methods you have. Either you can convert this answer to binary, and you can convert the binary answer to hexa, or else you can convert this number to decimal and convert the decimal answer to hexa. Both are possible. Tell me, out of these two, what do you think is easy? Converting to binary is easy or converting decimal is easy? Yes, you can, Surya. Yes, comparatively converting to binary is easy. So we are going to go in the binary method. Okay. So in binary, we have two steps. Step one is basically figuring out how to convert from octal to binary. Step two is converting from binary to hexa. Okay, so let's go with step one, which is converting from binary to octal to hexa. Now, if you know the origin, if you're like come to my class, you all know it always in the class when I'm introducing the number system, I always tell you all the purpose of each number system. Okay. So decimal number system was made for humans to use, and binary number system was you made for computers to use, right? Leaving these two, octal and hexadecimal, they were not made for a specific group of people to use. So comes the next question. Then why were they made and how were they made? So earlier days, they used to write all the binary codes. So early days, we had a programming language called machine language in the first generation computers. And all the instructions for the computer, if you want to store it, they used to write on papers or leaves or any element, they used to write it down. So sometimes when writing, there are either they could do mistakes, or second thing is when you're writing ones and zeros, the number is very long. The binary number is very long. Okay. So in those situations, when they wanted to store the binary values without storing as the whole number, they were like, can't we shorten this? Now, for example, tell me, let's say you're sending a message to your friend and you're lazy to type. So let's say you want to send a message called ID, I don't know. What is the short form you would say, you would send if you're lazy to type the whole word called I don't know? Exactly. You might type something called I don't know, IDK. Okay, you might type IDK. So for example, let's say there is a situation where you have to tell a person, for example, let's say something like take care. What is the short form you might tell you? Exactly, TC. Now if you notice here, all these verbs you all are using, you're taking the first letter of every word. You're taking the first letter of every word and you're making a shortened form, right? But in binary, the number is very long. So there is nothing called first letter we can take. So they were like, okay, we have to figure out a way to shorten this. So what they did is they were like, let's group three binary digits. So for example, let's say we had a binary digit like this. Let's say we had a binary number like this. They were like, let's group these three bits as one digit. Let's group these three bits as one digit. Okay, let's group these three bits as one digit. Killer, they shortened the number. How did they convert? Is basically they converted from binary to decimal. What they did is they took three binary digits and converted decimal, because I told you there are only two real number systems. One is binary, one is decimal. Binary is used by computers, decimal used by humans. So what they did is they converted, without converting the whole number to decimal, they took three digits to decimal. Three digits convert decimal. Three digits and convert decimal. So this method of shortening numbers. So for example, let's say we had a number with 12 binary digits. Okay. So you can shorten a 12 binary digits number. So not 12 binary digits, 369. Let's say we had a 9 binary digits number. If we had a 9 binary digit number, we can shorten that to a 3-digit number here. So this shortening method is what we call as the octal number system. This is how the octal number system was made. Okay, so octal was made basically to shorten binary numbers. And how did we shorten? We shorten as 3 bits representing one digit. Now, using that idea, tell me, if I have a number called 645, behind this number called 645, in total, how many binary digits are hiding? Perfect. There are 9 digits hiding, because why? Binary is basically 3 bits representing one digit. So if you have one digit, behind is one digit, there's 3 bits. Behind one digit, 3 bits. Behind one digit, 3 bits. So we have to figure out what are the 3 bits behind 6, what are the 3 bits behind 4, bits means binary digit, huh? And what are the 3 bits behind 5. To figure out that, what you do is just write below every number 1 to 4, which are the first 3 bits place value. Okay, below every number, just write 1 to 4, 1 to 4 separately. And now what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what are the numbers you should add together to form the respective digit. To form 6, I need 4 and 2. To form 4, I need only 4. To form 5, what are the numbers I should add together? To form 5, what are the numbers I should add together? Perfect. I had to add 4 and 1. So you circle the numbers you need to add together. Below the numbers you need, write 1. Below the numbers you don't need, you write 0. And just join them together. So once you join these three numbers together, the final answer you'll be getting here is binaries: 110, 100, 10. So we figure out behind the respective digit, behind the number 6, what are the 3 bits? Behind the number 4, what are the 3 bits? Behind the number 5, what are the 3 bits? We found out using this 1 to 4 method. It's very easy. Don't complicate stuffs. Now, initially I told you octal was made to shorten binary numbers, and we shortened it by grouping 3 bits as one digit. With time, they were like 3 bits are not enough. We are shorting it more. And that is where they made hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is also a number system that was made to shorten binary numbers. And here, how we shortened is we grouped how many bits as one digit. In hexadecimal, we group how many bits as one digit. Perfect. Here's the shortening number system. And here we group 4 bits as one digit. So there's going to be one set called 0101. There's another set here. It's going to be called 1010. I have an incomplete set. To make it a complete set, I'll add zeros in front. So that's going to be 0001. So what I've done here is I have broken this whole binary number into 4 bits by 4 bits because again, hexadecimal was a number system made to shorten binary values. So we're going to figure out what is the digit respective to each of them. So what's going to happen here is again like the earlier scenario only. We're going to convert binary to decimal. Okay, 4 bits is one digit. So we're going to figure out what is the one digit behind these 4 bits. To do that, again, there's a shortcut. What you do is below every digit, just write their place value 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3. Below every digit, just write the place value, which is 1248, 1248. Wherever 0 is there, cut the place value. And then write the sum of the remaining. In the left side corner set, the remaining we have is 1. In the middle set, 8 plus 2 remaining is 10. In the right side corner set, 4 plus 1 is 5. Now I told you hexadecimal number system was made to group 4 bits as one digit. So here we have 4 bits, 1 digit, 4 bits, 1 digit. But if you look at the middle, do we have 4 bits as one digit? No. So it's going out of our requirement. So in hexadecimal, what we do is in situation where we have a 2-digit number, instead of representing that using numbers, we use letters. So the first 2-digit number is 10. So A is assigned the number 10, B is assigned the number 11, C is assigned the number 12, D is assigned the number 13, E is assigned the number 14, and F has been assigned the number as 15. So whenever 10 is coming here, I told you to represent 4 bits as one digit now. So we use the letter A to represent that. Again, it's a shortening number system. So we're going to join them together. Your final answer is going to be something like 1A 5 base 16. This is how your answer is going to be. Is that clear, all of you? If you got this answer, mark it correct, put 1 mark there. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Are all these the steps needed? Yeah. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Huh? Others, you all can do the corrections. I can share this PDF with you all as well. Okay, Roman number 3. In the circuit shown, A represent a 2-input logic gate. So A is where okay, they are referring to this A, I guess. Oh, I think they're referring as P represents a 2-input. I think there's a spelling, there's a verdict error here. Anyways, I'll ignore that sentence for now. Let's see if that sentence is needful for us. From the two gates and an OR, what should be the gate P? They're asking what should this P has to be, which gate out of AND and OR gate. So that Q is according to the shown truth table. So Q is output here. Okay. There is 2 ways you can do this. Method number 1 is you can figure out the Boolean expression for Q. Method number 2 is you're testing individually. So let me show you both the methods with you. First of all, I'll show you testing individually. Let's take the first situation. Okay. In first situation, A is 0. So now I'll take the second situation. In the second situation, A is because that actually has different values now. In the second situation, A is 0 and B is 1. Okay, in the second situation, A is 0 and B is 1. So let's figure out what the answer is going to be. Now, when you have this thing called A dash, dash is representing NOT gate. So A dash means opposite of A. So tell me, if I'm going to look at the second scenario, if A is 0, opposite of A is how much? If A was 0, opposite of A should be how much? Perfect. Opposite of A means opposite of 0. That's going to be 1. And if B was 1, then B dash should be how much? Perfect. B dash has to be 0. Okay. Now we have an OR gate here. OR gate goes and checks, is either one of the inputs 1? If you go and check, is either one of the inputs 1? Yes. In yes is represented using number 1. OR gate again we have here. We're going to go and check, is either one of the inputs 1? Is either one of the inputs 1? Again, yes. So yes is represented using 1. Now let's see if it's AND gate, how will the result be? If it's OR gate, how will the result be? Let's check both. Okay. If this was AND gate will go and check, are both the inputs 1? Are both the inputs 1? Yes. If it was OR gate will go and check, is either one of the inputs 1? Is either one of the inputs 1? Yes. So in this situation, whether you use AND gate or whether you use OR gate, both are given the same result. So therefore, there is no purpose to use the AND or OR. Okay, there is no difference we can notice. So checking the second row is useless. Because only if you get a different result, we can check something. So let's go for a different one. Let's go with the first row itself. In the first row, A is 0 and B is 0. So A is 0, B is 0. If A is 0 and B is 0, in that case, what will happen is A dash should be opposite of A, it is 1. B dash will be opposite of B, it is 1. OR gate will go and check, is either one of the inputs 1. Is either one of the inputs 1? No. So no is represented using 0. OR gate will go and check, is either one of the inputs 1. Is either one of the inputs 1? Yes. Okay. Now if you look at this situation, if you use AND gate will go and check, is all the inputs 1. So always keep in mind, AND will go and check, is all 1. Okay, AND will go and check, are all the input 1. OR gate will go and check, is any of the input 1. Okay. So let's see. If it was AND gate will go and check, is all 1. Is all 1? No. OR gate will go and check, is any of them 1? Is any of them 1? Yes. So any means you represent by 1. So if answer is yes, you represent by 1. If answer is no, you represent by 0. Okay. Now let's see what the result will be. Here we have NOT gate. NOT gate gives the opposite of input. So if we use AND gate result will be 0 and opposite of AND gate is going to give you 1. Again, if it was OR gate that was there in P, then opposite of 1 is going to be 0. If you look at the question here, they have mentioned if A was 0 and B was 0, then the value of Q has to be 1. So tell me, in which one are we getting 1 as a final result? If you use AND gate or if you use OR gate? Perfect. You can see final result is going to be 1. That means Q is going to have 1 only when AND gate gives you 0. Based on AND gate gives 0, the P gate gives you 0. So P will give you 0 only if you use AND gate there. So the answer here is going to be AND gate. Is that clear all of you? You just take the values in the table and manually test and see what is the most suitable out of the two. So question number 3A is going to be AND gate. I'll write here itself directly. Write on the Boolean expression for Q. Let's do it. Always when you're writing the Boolean expression, start from the left side corner and go step by step towards the right. So first let's look at this gate we have here. To find the Boolean expression, I had to know what are the inputs. What are the inputs here? A and B. So write the inputs with a space. In between the inputs, you use a shape. So you are using a symbol representing the gate. If you take OR gate, the symbol used to represent OR gate is plus. So I'm going to mention A plus B. Now I come for the below one. If you look at this OR gate we have here, the inputs we have is A dash and B dash. Again, same step. Write the inputs with a small space. In between the inputs, we are going to use a symbol to represent that gate. We have OR gate. To represent OR gate, use a plus. So the Boolean expression of this is A plus B. The Boolean expression of this is A dash plus B dash. Now we come for this AND gate. Sorry, P. Now in the Roman number 3A part, we figure out that P has to be the AND gate. We figure out that P has to be the AND gate. So again, we're going to follow the same step. For this situation, if this is the AND gate, the input from the top is what? A plus B. So I'm going to write A plus B. Keep a small space and write the input from the bottom. What is the input from the bottom? It's going to be A dash plus B dash. So I'm going to keep here at A dash plus B dash. Always keep in mind, if your input has only one character, for example, if you look at the first gate, A and B, one character, one character. If it has one character, you can leave as it is. But if your input has multiple characters, you can see the AND gate's input, it has A and B, both are there in the input. So if your input has multiple characters, use brackets. In certain questions, it is not compulsory. But if you use brackets, you're on the safe side. Okay, so what I did is, because my input has multiple characters, I use brackets. A and B, so I use brackets here. For A, why can't it be OR gate? How can it be OR gate? If I use OR gate, the P's results will be 1, right? And Q's output will be 0. But are we having 0 here? No. If you use OR gate, this will be 0. That's why it's wrong. So coming back to the question. So if you look at the situation, if I use AND gate here, the input from the top is A plus B, input from the bottom is A dash plus B dash. AND gate, what happened is, in between the input, the symbol we use is a dot. So that means the output coming from the AND gate is going to be A plus B dot A dash plus B dash. Now we have the NOT gate. In NOT gate, what we do is, we again take the input. The whole input is this A plus B, blah, blah, blah. This whole thing is coming as input. In NOT gate, what we do is, for full input, we write a dash like this. So you can mention the Boolean expression as Q is equal to A plus B dot A dash plus B dash whole thing dash. These are answers there. If you got this correct, put 1 mark there. If you got this correct, put 1 mark there. Correct your answers, and those who have any questions, drop in the chat. Rushta, are you clear why you can't use OR gate there? Okay, if I used OR gate there, this will be 0. Huh? That's why I said OR gate is wrong. Then what you do is, you try to find if A is 0 and B is 0. And if I use an OR gate here, tell me what is the result. Try to do it. Like I did in brown color here. Take A as 0, B as 0. And figure out what will be the result at Q. If I use OR gate there. Here you go. Which part, Hannah? Question A or question B? So that's why Rushta, it's wrong, because expected output is 1. No, number B. Okay. So Hannah, basically, look at that AND gate we have here and tell me what is the input we are getting from the top. For the AND gate, what is the input that's coming from the top? We are talking Boolean expressions. In Boolean expression, we don't see 1 and 0. In Boolean expression, we always focus on the input as letters. So if you're taking the AND gate, OR gate we have here, if I ask you what are the inputs, your input has to be A and B. In Boolean expression, we don't talk about numbers, we talk about letters. So the input from the top is represented by A, the input from the bottom is represented by B. That is why I said the output of that OR gate is going to be A plus B. Is that part clear? Perfect. Okay. Then likewise, if you come for the bottom, here we have an OR gate. For this OR gate, the input from the top is A dash, the input from the bottom is B dash. So what I did is, first of all, I wrote both the inputs with a small space in between. And to represent that OR gate is used between these input, or to mention that OR gate has been used to pass these inputs, I mention a plus. So for OR gate, we use the plus symbol. For AND gate, we use a dot symbol. Is that clear? Sorry, for AND gate we use dot, OR gate plus. Okay, so now I figure out A dash plus B dash is output for the pink color OR gate. A plus B is output for the orange color OR gate. Now, once I'm done with that, you can see these two are going, the output from the orange OR gate and the output from the pink OR gate. They are going as inputs for the purple AND gate. So if I take the AND gate here, which I have here, we have AND gate here now. If I take this AND gate, for this AND gate, the input from the top is what? A plus B. The input from the bottom is what? A dash plus B dash. The pink color is what? A dash plus B dash. Because my input has more than one character, A is one character, B is another character. Because the input has multiple characters, we use brackets. So here you can see we didn't use brackets. The reason we didn't use bracket is A is one character, B is one character. So the input from the top is one character, input from the bottom is one character. If your input has only one character, then the bracket is not important. But if your input has multiple characters, bracket are important. That is what I meant. That's why I mentioned the part called A plus B and A plus B, A dash plus B dash in brackets. Is that clear? Why I use brackets? Okay. To represent that between these two inputs, the input called A plus B, it is coming from top, and the input called A dash plus B dash, the input coming from the bottom. To show that both are going through the AND gate, I use a dot here. So then I got the Boolean expression of this part as A plus B dot A dash plus B dash. Now finally, this input is going to go through the NOT gate. This is a NOT gate. To represent NOT gate is going to go to represent this whole input. The whole thing is input. The whole thing purple color is input for the NOT gate. To show that the whole thing is going to go through NOT gate, what we do is above the whole thing, we write a dash. Dash is used to represent NOT gate. So this red is used to show that this whole purple color input is going through this NOT gate. Make sense? Perfect. Manal, remind me next class once I'm done. Or else once I'm done with these questions, I'll do. So once I'm done with the fifth question, just remind me. If possible, can you WhatsApp me that question, Manal? Why are we taking the first instance on the table? Isn't it supposed to be second? There is no rules that you can use any instance you want. Why is it whole dash? Because the whole thing is going through the red not gate, right? See, the purple color is representing the whole thing. So whole thing is going through the not gate. Got it, Joe? Not gate, what it does is it takes the input. On top of the input, it puts the dash. So the whole thing is the input, so the whole thing gets dash. For A dash and B dash, can I put A dash together? No, you can't. This is basically school paper. It's not a oral paper. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, all good. Mahmood. Anyone having any other questions? If I missed any of your questions, let me know the chat. Can you explain how you did the question A again? Yes, focus here. Those who did not understand how I got the AND gate, again, focus here. Okay. For this, for the second, for now, expression I'm going to do now, I'll use a fourth row. So basically, how you figure out what gate has to be used is, it's something like this. It's like trial and error. Do you all know what do you mean by trial and error? Now, for example, let's say you had two charges. You want to figure out which charge is working. How would you do it? Two phone chargers are there. You want to see which charge is working. What will you do? Yes, Shifna. Perfect. You might try both. You might try connecting both for the phone and seeing which one is actually charging the phone. Same thing here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to try each and everything. These are A and B are input, Q is output. If you look at the whole logic gate here, A and B are the input, we are the corner. Q is the final output. So we are going to figure out of these basically which one is which one is going to give you the correct answer. If A and B are 0, which one will give you the answer as 1? Correctly. Will AND gate give you the answer as 1? No, will OR gate give you the answer as 1? So let me show you how I'm going to do that, okay? For this example purpose, I'll take the last row. In the last row, we have A is 1 and B is 1. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to consider A and B as 1. Now, If A is 1 and if B is 1, that means A dash is how much and B dash is how much? A dash means opposite of A, B dash means opposite of B. So if A is 1 and B is 1, A dash B dash is going to be how much? Correct. A dash and B dash are going to be 0 and 0. Okay, they're going to be 0 and 0. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass them as input for the gates. Here we have a OR gate. OR gate goes and checks, are any of the inputs 1? See, I mentioned, are any of them 1? Or is either one of them 1? If you go and check, is either one of them 1? Is either one of them 1? Yes or no? Look at the orange color OR gate and tell me, is either one of the inputs 1? Yes. In logic gates, sorry, in truth table, yes is represented using the number 1 and no is represented using 0. Okay. Now come to the pink color gate. Look at the pink color gate and tell me against OR gate. OR gate goes and checks, is either one of the inputs 1? Is either one of the inputs 1? No. So no has to be represented using what number? Perfect. 0. So I mentioned 0 here. Now I'll come for the purple gate. Now purple is a gate we are supposed to find. So let's do both. Let's figure out, let's say purple is basically AND gate. If purple is AND gate goes and checks, is all the inputs 1? So tell me, are all the inputs for the AND gate 1? Look at the AND gate. For the AND gate, we are getting here one input, here one input. Are all the inputs 1? No. So no means how should you represent that as? 0. If the purple gate was an OR gate goes and checks, is either one of the inputs 1? So look at the purple color gate and tell me, is either one of the inputs 1? Yes or no? Is either one of them 1? Or is any of them 1? Yes. Yes means how much? 1. So if I use AND gate, the result of P is going to be 0. If I use OR gate, the result of P is going to be 1. Is that clear? Perfect. Now this result is going to go through the NOT gate. Okay, this result is going to go through NOT gate. The idea of NOT gate is NOT gate gives you the opposite of the input. How NOT gate works is NOT gate gives you the opposite. If you give NOT gate 0, it will give you back 1. If you give 1, it will give you back 0. Okay. So tell me, for this NOT gate, if the AND gate gives 0, the NOT gate's result will be 1. If the NOT gate got 0 from the AND gate, then output will be perfect, 1. Let's say without using AND gate, if you use OR gate there, the NOT gate will be getting 1 now. If the NOT gate get 1 from here, then the result will be how much? Result at Q will be 0. So look at the question and tell me, if A and B are 1, Q has to be how much? As per the table. If A and B are 1, Q has to be? Look at the table. If A and B both are 1, Q has to be how much? Yeah, Q has to be 1. So if A and B both are 1, Q has to be 1. So if I use AND gate, am I getting Q1? Or if I use OR gate, am I getting Q1? Q is being 1 in which situation? Q is becoming 1 when I use which gate? AND gate or OR gate? AND gate. That is why AND gate is the answer here. Make sense? Perfect. Next. So if you got the answers AND gate here, 1 mark. For the Boolean expression, 1 mark. Huh? If I get a question, I'll let you know, Mahmoud. Five cables labeled A to E are shown in figure 3. These are not cable, these are ports. Yeah. You can consider that as cable as well if you look at the vice. Okay, fine. Write down the label of each of the following A to B. Write down the label of each for the following A and B. Okay, they are saying to connect projector out of A, B, C D, what you should use. Okay. To connect a projector with a VGA port out of A, B, C, D, first of all, let's figure out what are the ports. Huh? If you look at A, B, C, D, first of all, tell me which one is a VGA port. Is it A or C? I'll give you a 50-50 option. Is A VGA port or is C VGA port? Because you can see A and C, they're kind of identical. Okay. There is a shortcut to figure out VGA port. If you take VGA port and serial, there's a port called VGA port and serial port. Both of them look identical. But to figure out that, figure out the letter V. How is V there? Like this, right? If you look at the dots, you can see the dots of VGA ports are like in V shape. See, three dots like this, three dots like this, three dots like this, three dots like this, three dots like this. If you notice properly, in VGA port, it's like a letter V. See, like a V, V, V. So out of A and C, the correct VGA port is actually the label C. So this is a VGA port. This is the serial port. So VGA and serial, they look kind of similar. How do you differentiate this? Remember the V. Okay. How do you call this long port we have? Out of all the ports which has pins, the long port is called the perfect. The long port, we call it as a parallel port. And finally, there's a port like this, which has like a small rectangle, but a small break here. We call this as what port? Perfect. That's called the HDMI port. So USB and HDMI kind of looks the same. USB is complete rectangle. HDMI has a small break like this. Now let's answer the question. To connect a projector with a VGA port, so answer its question itself has mentioned VGA port. So if you want to connect using VGA port, we have to use a port C. In this question, if you had mentioned VGA port, you will not get the answer. Okay. Because the question says write down the label of each. So if you go and write VGA port, no answer. You have to mention the label, ABCD of the label, you have to use a label. To connect a monitor with HDMI cable, which label should we use? Basically, there's a monitor with HDMI cable. Then which port it should be connected to? Yes, HDMI cable means HDMI port. Is the label B? Easy. So if you mention C mark, if you mention answer B, put 1 mark. Next. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Huh? Write two devices that can be connected with port A and D respectively. So two devices for A. No, they're not saying two devices each. They're saying two devices in total. Okay. So two device or else two devices with port A and D respectively. I'm not sure are they referring to two devices each or two devices in total because the question has not it's not very precise. For safety purpose, let's write in total. Okay. For A, I put A. There is no V here. It's just one two dots. VG put as I don't know, Sura. So if you take A and D respectively, A is serial port. Using serial port, we can connect mostly olden days networking devices. Olden days networking device. Give me a olden days networking device that you can connect using serial port. There's a networking device that starts letter M. Correct. It's called the modem. You can connect the modem using the what do you call port A. Port D is used to connect what do you call parallel port. That is used to connect olden days printers. And what else? There's one more. It starts with the S. Not like that, push that is the opposite side. There's an olden day device, just like printer. It's like printer's brother. It's printer's brother. Like some printers have that on top itself. Yeah, it's scanner. So olden day scanner as well, you can connect using parallel port. Actually, there are some printers and scanners you can connect using serial port as well. No? So I'll put modem. For two devices, I'll put printer as well here. There are olden days printers you can connect as well. Actually, if you go to certain bank, I have seen this in commercial bank. Commercial bank has those old printers that uses serial port only, not parallel. For protection, Zora, as a shield. So yeah, again, I'm not sure is this question asking two devices in total or else two devices each. So I'll just consider two devices in total. If you mention one example for modem, put 1 mark there. Sorry. Small mistake. For question A and B, put half marks each. And similarly for question C, if you have mentioned modem for A or else printer for A, put half marks there. For question C, if you mention for D example, printer and scanners together or printer, scanner, kilo, at least one example, put half marks there. So in total, half of one. So total should give you two. Exactly, Surya. Anyways, anyone have any questions there? If you have any questions, ask her. Next. For each of the following labels P to S, we can write down the suitable replacements from the following word list. Okay. No one is a high school student who uses her laptop for school assignments. When she presses the power button, the dash runs first to check the hardware and start the system. Okay, we know on the computer, the first thing that runs is your BIOS. So I'll consider P to be BIOS. Then the dash loads, which provides the interface. So after your whole, what do you call, loading is done, like on the computer, you can see the logo and like a black screen, right? So that is when the BIOS is running. Once everything is completed, you can see the screen of your operating system. So Q is going to be operating system. So then the operating system loads, which provides the interface. So operating system only provides interface and manages all the computer hardware. So there are two services of operating system. Sure, can remember. This is one of the service of operating system, and this is the next service of the operating system. These are two services of the operating system. Later, Nuani opens Dash to calculate marks and create charts for science work project. To calculate marks and create chart, operating system, spreadsheet, word processor. Okay, I'll call this as A, B, and C. So tell me out of A, B, C, which one do you think is more suitable to which you can do calculations as well as you can create charts? Correct. Spreadsheets can be used to particularly create charts as well as perform calculations. So I'll mention see spreadsheet software to become the label R. So Noni opens a spreadsheet software to calculate the marks and create charts. All these tasks are only possible because the dash manages the resources and allows her to run application softwares. Okay. To manage the resources of your computer, again, resources means hardware and software, mainly hardware. Okay. And allow her to run application, you need the help of the operating system. So S is going to be operating system. Operating system only allows you to interact with the computer, and through the operating system you can open applications, close applications. These are all features given by your operating system. So P has to be BIOS, Q has to be operating system, R has to be spreadsheet software, S has to be operating system again. If these are the answers you mentioned, again put half marks each. Those who have any questions, drop in the chat. Anyone having any questions here? Okay, tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks I got, all of you? Those who did the question, tell me. Those who had doubts, drop in the chat. Others tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks I got. Good. Yes, Mahmoud. Good job. What about all computers? Hassan, sorry, I missed your question. What did you ask about the part called all computers? Which part? Like, what do you mean by what about all computers? So which part were you referring to? Can I explain what is BIOS? So basically, on the computer, you notice once you press the power button, your phone, computer, anything, it takes time for you to see your screen, right? Lock screen or home screen, right? During that gap, mostly all you might be able to see a black screen or else your computer or phone's logo, right? So behind the scene, what's happening is there's a program called the BIOS. BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System. So behind the scenes, what's happening is that BIOS program is running. Okay, behind the scene, there's a program called the BIOS that is running. So if you take this BIOS program, the main responsibility of the BIOS program is it is used to check if your computer is stable to run. Okay, but I'll tell you the whole process of powering on. Will you? First of all, the BIOS will go and check are all the hardwares needed present. Like there are certain hardwares your computer needs. Without those hardwares, your computers can't function. Like for example, if you take your computer, like if you have a Windows computer, mostly majority of the computers, even Mac also, you need something called RAM. You need something called CPU, and you need something called as your hard disk. These are like three main and cache memory. Like these are some components you have which are compulsorily needed. Without these, your computer can't work. So BIOS will go and check are these hardwares there present. If it's present, it will proceed. If the hardware is absent, it will be like, okay, there's some issue, there's some hardware error, you can't on the computer. Is that part clear somehow? That's the first thing it will do. Perfect. After that, inside the BIOS itself, sorry, inside the what you called, yeah, under the BIOS, there's a subprogram called the under the BIOS. There's a program. So BIOS is more than calling BIOS as a program. We call BIOS as something called as a firmware. Firmware is again a type of software, but these are softwares that can run without an operating system. So softwares that can run without operating system, we call as firmware. Meaning the softwares that can run even before you, like let's say you have Windows, Mac OS, Android, these are called operating systems. Okay. Without them, even there are certain applications that can run. They are called firmware. For example, if you take your AC remote, your AC remote also has a software. But for that software to run, we don't have an operating system that can run alone. So those softwares we call as firmware. Again, you don't have to remember what is firmware. That's the rough idea. Anyways, so under BIOS, there's a program called as post. So second step, what happens is this post program runs. So when the post program run, what the post program is going to do is it will go and check are those hardwares working properly. Now BIOS will go and check are these hardwares available. No, post will go and check are these hardwares working. Now for it to check are these hardwares working properly or not, it can't do it alone. It needs the help of someone. It gets the help of someone called as a CMOS memory. So in your computer, there is a special type of memory called CMOS. I'm again giving you a summary here because it will take time to explain the whole thing. So in your computer, there's something called CMOS memory, and this will have something called as configuration data. Okay, so you don't have to know in detail this. Just keep in mind, host will go and check are the hardware is working properly. To check are the hardware is working properly, it needs the help. It needs to know certain, like for example, if I tell you, okay, look at this phone and see is this phone working properly. There's a method of how you check a phone, right? If I give you a laptop, if I give you a phone, if I give you any device, there's a way of how you might check. Like for example, let's say if someone come, let's say your sibling or your parents come and tell, I can't on the TV, there's an issue with the remote. What is the first thing you go and check? Like I can't on the TV. TV is not getting on. What's the first thing you're going to go and check? Exactly. You might remove the what you call battery and see is remove the TV's battery and see. Sorry, remote's battery and see is the battery working. Okay, you might replace the battery first. Okay, the first thing you might do is you might go and replace the battery. So likewise, let's say after replace the battery, also if there is a after you replace the battery, also let's say there is no progress. Now what you might do is you might first of all go and see, okay, TV is not owning. Is it the issue in the plug point? So you might go for the plug point and see, okay, is current coming there? So likewise, there are certain things you might go and do, right, to check. Now, for example, the way you might go and check is a TV working? Is it the same process of how you're going to go and check is AC working? Not AC. Let's say is it the same process of how you're going to go and check is a car working? Let's say someone comes in, my car has stopped working. The way you check the car and the way you check the TV, is it same? No. So we have something called brain. Our brain will tell you how to check each stuff, right? If your phone stops working, what to do? If the phone laptop stops working, what to do? If the computer stops working, what to do? If the AC remote stops working, what to do? If the TV remote stops, what to do? So your brain has this data of how to go and solve a problem, or what are the step-by-step process you might follow to solve the problem, right? Same thing in your computer, there's something called CMOS memory that will have the configuration data. That's like the method of how to check each hardware. Okay, so post will get the help of that and check are all the hardware is working properly. Is that part clear? Perfect. So once the post know is what you call figure post is confirming that everything is working properly, Now what happens is the operating system has to be loaded. Okay. First of all, you have to go and find where is the operating system. Because if you take a computer can have multiple operating systems. Like for example, let's say I have a computer, I have connected a pen drive, I have connected a hard disk, I have connected a CD. Every storage device you connect to a computer, all of them can have individual operating system. It's possible. You can have a separate operating system on your pen drive. You can have a separate operating system on your hard disk, CD killer. On your every storage device, you can have a separate operating system. So your computer should know, okay, which operating system should I load? Because you can't load multiple operating systems at the same time. Okay, your computer can't load multiple operating systems at the same time. It should know, should I load the operating system that is in the hard disk or pen drive or CD? So what happens is in your computer, there's someone called as a bootstrap loader. The bootstrap loader is only responsible to load the operating system. Okay. It is in charge to go and load the operating system inside the RAM. So before it loads, it has to first of all go and find where is operating system stored. To find where the operating system is stored, it will get the help of someone called as a MBR. MBR stands for Master Boot Record. This will have like a list of where to go and find the operating system. It will be like telling, okay, first of all, you go and see there's a pen drive have. If the pen drive have operating system, load that. If the pen drive don't have the operating system, go and see the CD player. Do we have a CD that contains an operating system? If we have the operating system, load that. If the CD also doesn't have, then we'll like, go and check the hard disk. So likewise, the bootstrap loader, sorry, the MBR will have the list of who to load first. You can go and change it. There are possibilities of how you can go and reorder this. You can tell, okay, first of all, search for the CD, second, search in the pen drive killer. You can reorder this list. But basically, the master boot record or the MBR will tell you the order. So we call this what you call we call this a boot up sequence. So boot up sequence means in which order should we go and search for the operating system. Okay. So what will happen is the bootstrap loader will get the help of MBR and know where to go and search the operating first. So first of all, if the boot up sequence was like this, the bootstrap will go and see in the pen drive, does the pen drive have operating system? If it doesn't have, we'll go and check the CD. Let's say CD has operating system. Once a CD has operating system, the bootstrap loader is going to load the operating system into the RAM. OS is a short form for operating system. It will load the operating system to the RAM. So once the operating system is loaded to the RAM, now what you'll be able to see is the home screen, lock screen will be visible. Now the home screen and lock screen will be visible. So this process of your computer preparing itself to on, okay, your computer owning process. That means when you go and click on the power button, it takes some time. It is like a black screen. Your computer logo all comes right. That time taken, what's happening is these are things happening. So this whole process, we call this thing as a boot up process. The process of where your computer is preparing itself before it ons. Boot up process. And for your information, BIOS stands for basic input output system. Host stands for power on self test. CMOS stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Anyways, is that clear, someone? What will wait? What exactly is it doing on pen drive, CD, etc.? Pen drives also can store operating system. CD also can store operating system. If you want, I can store one operating system here, another one here, Another one here. Always operating system doesn't have to be inside the computer. Any storage device connected can have operating system loaded to it. Perfect. Should you know the full form? Yes, you all should know the full form. Which port like can't be parallel port or serial port? Sorry, Hassan, I'm completely lost with your question. Why, Mahmoud? Can you say what does CMOS stands for? Okay, show it. What is boot up sequence? Boot up sequence is we have to go and find the operating system first. Make sense? He'll go and find pen drive. If pen drive doesn't have, he'll come to CD. If CD doesn't have, he'll go to hard disk. Why does ICD have science in it? Shall I tell you a fun fact about CMOS memory? If you're so much worried about science here, tell me when you off the now. Let's say you have using a computer. Okay, when you off the computer and on the computer, should you set the time always? Yes or no? You can be a good science teacher, though. Some TV don't have screen. Yeah, same thing. There's operating system there as well. No. Okay. Now, when you if you take these computers, does computers have battery? I'm not talking about laptops. I'm talking about the computers. CPU, monitor, that kind of computer. If you use those computers, do those computers have a battery? No. So let's say there is no battery there, and you without connecting to the internet, you're not connecting to the internet as well. You're off in the computer and you're on in the computer. But when you're on the computer, again, there is no ongoing current and there is no internet connection as well. In this situation, will your computer have the date and time correct? Will the date and timing correct? Yeah. So how is that? It's on sleep, right? Like how does it know what is the time now? Now, for example, if you sleep and get up, do you know what is the time now? If there's no clock around you, if you just sleep and get up, you don't know exact time. I am out of your Hassan, again, seriously out of your question. No. So basically, inside your computer, there is a memory called CMOS memory. Even if your computer is off, the CMOS memory has its own battery. Okay, so it will always be running. Even if you take a computer, phone, laptop, everything, it has a CMOS memory. It has a battery which can run on its own. It doesn't take much current. So technically, the CMOS memory also has a clock in it. It'll keep on running. So even if you on and off the computer, still it knows the time. The reason it knows the time is because CMOS memory has a time stored in it. That is why sometimes if you notice in your mobile, olden days phones and all, most of your olden days phone you might notice, most in phones, nowadays phones also I think have, in olden days phone was prominent. Sometimes if you have set an alarm in the phone and let's say your phone is dead, there's no charge. Even though there is no charge and your phone is dead, the alarm might ring. Have you noticed that? Let's say there is no charge in your phone and the phone is off. Even though your phone is dead, there is no charge, it's off, the alarms might ring. Most in olden days phones, you can notice it. So the reason is because of this same memory. Yes, very rarely though. Not very rarely, all the olden days phone had. Nowadays phone, I don't know how about it. But if you had an old Nokia phone, you will definitely know. Go and ask your grandparents or parents. It's 100% yes. I'm not sure about how new phones because I have not come for such a situation. New phone. Olden days phones 100% yes. Anyways, that's about the operating system part. Not exactly, hello. It's just that I'm a curious student. So without by hearting stuff, I need to always know why, how things happen, and when, why, what, how those questions I need answers. Anyways, that's the part. Before I go for the next question, one of you all said they have a question to answer. Did you send me a question? Who was the person who asked me to do one question? I didn't still get the question. There's a question. I'll give you 1 minute. Reply in the chat quickly that you're here, that you're alive. Unit 5 also come for the second term. No, when I saw Unit 5. In my class, I am basically focusing all and teaching all, man. I'm not teaching all for the school exams, to be honest. So, what do you call your second term in your school? They might cover Unit 5 as well, but I will do Unit 5 probably in July only. See, August only. But before the second term exam, I'll make sure I do a seminar so that things are what you need for the exam is covered. But yeah, yeah. Okay, I didn't got reply from that person, so we're gonna go. Now, for example, notice here. These are grade 11 question, grade 11 paper. In the grade 11 paper, part 2 first question is a compulsory question. At least one question from this grade 11 related. At least is one of these questions grade 11 related. Five important question, 10 marks. Hmm. So don't just think that just because certain lessons come in this lesson, what you call term, term, that doesn't mean without knowing that lesson, you can't get a, you can't get a 80 or 90 marks. There's something called selection question. No, Zain, I'll be sharing after class. Okay, even if you look at this portion, the question number 6 is grade 10. Question number 7 is grade 10. Question number 8 is grade 10. Question number 9 is grade 10. Only question number 10 is grade. So technically, out of this compulsory 20 marks question, only 2 marks is grade 11. So even if you have not learned the grade 11 with just the grade 10 knowledge, you can get 18 marks here. That's why I'm saying, if you know the pattern of how question comes, you should not be worried about that. Don't worry. I'll make sure you'll get good marks. Isn't the Q1 fully 20 marks? Yes, Q1 is fully 20 marks. Out of this fully 20 marks, you can say around 18 marks is grade 10. Only 2 marks is grade 11. Again, grade 11 first time test. Is it always like that? No. It's not always like that, but majority of these questions are from grade 10. They don't give you much grade 11 questions here. Good job, Baki. He not only studies Hana, everything in general. Yes, Mahmood. Obviously, I mean, without grade 10, you think only grade 11s come for O levels. In O levels, you can get more marks from grade 10 than grade 11. Okay, because I didn't get that question from that person, let's do how many minutes we have? We have only 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Um, okay, do the Roman number 6 and 7. If you have time, I'll go for the Roman 8 as well. I'll give you around 4 minutes, 2 minutes each. So do the Roman number 6 and 7. And what do you call it? I'll start. If you have time, I'll go for the Roman number 8 as well. What do you mean by photos? I don't get still the idea, Mahmoud. I'm still confused. Let's see tomorrow. I got 4 out of. That's not great. Send me the paper. Okay, let's see. Take the question. Are there like very important chapters of grade 10 and 11 that come for the first question? Number conversion, logic gates, first lesson input output device, second lesson fundamentals of memory system. Basically, all the grade 10 first few lessons. It's easy, man. Once you start doing questions, you'll notice it's bloody easy. Understand, Lucky. Once you get, let me know. What do you mean by Missile Hannah? By the way, I'm going to put all of your hands down. So once you're done, raise your hands up. I put our hands down now. Yeah, Shadan, possible. What's platter? If you take your hard disk, in the hard disk, there's like a small like a CD kind of thing that stores data. So that's called the platter. It's a part of the hard disk where the data is stored. Not exactly, Dhruva. Once you're done with row number 6 and 7, raise your hands up. You'll have around 1.5 minutes remaining. Okay, time's up. Let's check your answer. Those are done, raise your hands up. I can see a few hands. The question is very easy. By the way, if you feel like my explanation was a bit fast and you didn't understand, let me know. There are certain things that are unimportant. Those I might just skim through and go fast. If it's important, I might slow. So, like if you all notice this, I have mentioned so much detail, right? Go and check your textbook. They wouldn't have mentioned so much detail. It's very slightly loud. They have touched and kept. Okay, Shaz, remind me at the end, okay? Right, I can see the 27 of you are done. Yeah, what man others? ഇതാകിരുന്നില്ലേ? Column A and column B, they ask you to match with the labels down. Okay. Letters are printed on this paper as small dots. So primary memory, line printer, dot matrix printer, cache memory, terminal printer, ID connector, actuator arm. Right. If you go through the answers here, here they're talking about letters are printed. So they're talking about something about printing relevant. So in terms of printing relevant, we have the option called line printer and dot matrix printer and terminal printer. So it's a typing error. They have mentioned the thermal printer. Okay, thermal printer, dot matrix printer, line printer. If you compare these three printers, in thermal printer, the printing is done based on heat. Line printer and dot matrix printer kind of same, but more specific of where you what do you call where letters are printed by a collection of dots. That's dot matrix printer. Like for example, if you take Cargill's bills, you all might notice. In Keel's bill, A will be like this. In Cargill's bill, the A will be like a collection of dots is forming the letter A like this, like this, like this. Killer. You have a collection of dots and the collection of dots will form the letter A. There won't be a big space. It'll be complete, it'll be like almost 90% precise. But if I nicely zoom in and see, it will be a collection of dots. Okay, that's how the dot matrix printer works. So the letters are printed on the paper as small dots. That's the dot matrix printer. There's something special about line printer. It can print what you call several lines in a minute. Tell me how many lines can a line printer print in 1 minute? It's actually fastest printer in terms of printing several lines. How many lines? Correct. It can print around 3000 lines per minute. That's how fast it is in 1 minute. Huh? So if they ask you what's the printer that can print around 3000 lines per minute, it's going to be the line printer. You went and ate the bill, Hannah. Is it very accurate? Like quality wise? It's a this kind of print. It's an impact printer. So to compare impact printer and non-impact printer, mostly impact printer is having a less printing quality than non-impact. Not a big difference, but there is a small difference. So it is clear, not that it's bad, but normally non-impact is better. Heat is used to print the document. I already told the answer. Heat is used in thermal printers. So answer is going to be B here. Called as CPU memory. Okay. In terms of memory here, there are primary memory is one memory, cache memory is one memory, and yeah, they are giving you two memories here. One is primary memory and one is cache memory. Tell me, primary memory and cache memory. Is any of them there inside the CPU? Yes or no? Is either one of them there in the CPU? Yes or no? Oh, primary or cache? Primary or cache? Very nice, huh? Do you all know the definition of primary memory and secondary memory? Do you all know what do you mean by primary memory? Why do we call something as primary memory? And why do we call secondary memory? Do you know based on what do we differentiate that? Yes or no? Do you all know based on what do we divide them as primary and secondary? You're smiling, that means it's wrong. Yeah, it is wrong. How many of you all know why, like based on how do we differentiate as primary, secondary? Volatile, non-volatile, bullshit. In primary memory, we have what do you call ROM. ROM is non-volatile. In secondary memory, all are non-volatile. So how can you say based on volatile, non-volatile? We have primary memory that's non-volatile as well. Primary memory is temporary. No, ROM is permanent. If you say by the temporary permanent, or if you say volatile, non-volatile, then it's ROM is coming under primary memory, non-volatile. ROM stores data permanently. Function? नहीं नहीं नहीं. Very bad, very bad. Nope, 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 nope. Anna correct. Hana correct. Good job, Hana. See, only one person's brain is working. No, man, nothing is there like that. If you take the CPU, the people who are close to the CPU, the CPU has the close friends, no, or sharing photos, they have something called close friends. And that close friends is basically the primary memory. Okay. So primary memory is there in the close friend circle of CPU. They can easily communicate with each other without any problem. There is no need of any mediator. If you want, you can have a mediator, but there is no need of a mediator. Both of them are able to freely communicate directly. But then there are certain people, the CPU does not allow to talk directly. Okay. They are, the people who they don't like. So those people, CPU will be like, I can't talk to you directly or talk to me through some other person. They're not very close. They're not close enough. So those distant relatives you have is who we call as a secondary memory. So the way we categorize as primary and secondary is whether the CPU can contact them directly or CPU can exchange data and information directly or indirectly. So primary memory, it can directly contact. But secondary memory, it can't directly contact. It has to contact. If it wants to talk to secondary memory, it has to talk through the primary memory. Make sense? Hmm. I can't remember the purpose, to be honest, Kake. I knew it, I forgot. I did tell location, correct? No, not exact location. It's not about the location. All of them are in the motherboard only. Primary memory you take, secondary memory, all of them are connected to the motherboard. So it's not location. It's about the friendship they have. It's the bond they have. They can share data easily. They can't share data directly. So here direct, here indirect. That's the difference. So if you take what you called, there is a storage, there is a memory that is there inside the CPU. What is the name of that memory that is there inside the CPU? CPU also has brains, huh? So what is that part used to store data temporarily? Not physically close. Location is physically. Yeah, they're not physically closer. It's like mentally close. Yeah. Do you all even know the examples of primary memory? What the hell, man? You all have a short time memory loss, man. The examples of primary memory are RAM, ROM, and who's the third fellow? Who's the third example? We have a primary memory. There are only three examples. Nothing. What do you mean? So many things to remember. Only three things are there. Cache memory. So if cache memory is the answer to the primary memory, how can it be inside the CPU bit? If cache memory is there, if one person say cache and everyone copy the same answer, right? You literally know CPU has three components. One is ALU, one is CU, other one is a type of memory. What memory? What memory? Now all your mole has put that vedila තියෙන්නේ. Register memory. So this is the storage we have inside the CPU. You need to do some surgeries and increase your head's capacity. Okay. So your data that's stored in the CPU is register memory. It's only stored in data. Then where did it go in the question? Question did not ask you what is the memory in the what do you call the question did not tell you what is the memory inside the CPU. They ask who is called a CPU memory. Okay. The people who are close to primary, who those who are close to CPU, they are called CPU's friends. CPU memory. Okay, memory who are very close to CPU. So when they say who are called as CPU memory, they are not referring to what is the memory in the CPU. They're referring to who can be called as CPU memory. That's a primary memory. So answer is primary memory. The question did not ask you what is the memory in CPU. Yes, who is called as CPU memory? Let's see. Because he's close to that fellow. When you at once ask, it won't come. Slowly, your brains will process. I'll have Pentium PCs in a head. Okay. Anyway, so CPU memory means we are referring to the primary memory. Yeah. The correct word should be can be referred to as CPU memory. But to be very precise, okay, to be very precise, tell me if you had the option here, if you, in the given answers, if they have given you the register memory, then make sure that you choose register memory. Yeah. Again, I'm telling you, in the options given here, if they had mentioned register memory, then register memory is the most suitable because that is a memory that's there inside the CPU. So because register memory is not there, you can take the person who's close by. But again, keep it in mind, if register was there, this is the correct answer. Exactly, Zura. Can see all of your memory loss. They need to E for that answer. Yeah, because that's basics. And you all can't remember. Then is cache memory wrong? Yeah, cache memory is wrong. Cache memory is basically an example in the primary memory. Cache memory is not even there in the CPU. Why isn't the answer cache? Cache memory is not called CPU memory. That's why the answer is not cache memory. Simple. I was only confident with that. I was really confident that. Shah. But the textbook says it's also called CPU memory. Nope, CPU memory is register memory. I'll double check with my answer. I'll double check and let you know later. But CPU memory is a register memory, yeah, to be precise. I'll double check that shit. So generally, register memory is the most suitable for that question. Yes, register is the most suitable because that's the actual CPU memory. The memory used to process data. But I can give you a marks for cache memory as well. There's a reason. The reason why I'm saying I can give you a marks for cache memory as well is when CPU is searching for data to process. Now CPU is going to process data. Now. When CPU has to process data, for example, let's say I have to load the image. Okay, let's say I go for the I want to open image. Okay, so when loading that image, by default, the image might be stored in secondary memory. No, so when loading the image, what happens is if it was loaded recently, that image was loaded recently, it'll load faster. Like I'll show you an example. Huh? If I go for this website, I just go for random website. I don't think master IT, it will take time. I'll just take this website. Now in this website, wait, load fast. Sad life. Let me go for again. So let's say I will load this website for the first time. Okay, I'll reload it for, imagine this is loading for the first time. Huh? If it's loading for the first time, it will take some, it's very fast. I'll take this website. This at least might take some time. Perfect. Now you can see it's taking some time to load the website, right? It took some time to load this image. I will reload the website. Huh? When I reload the website for the second time, did it take so much time to load the website? You can see there's a website here. Okay, this image was there, right? First time when I load it, took some time. It's like put it loaded. If I again go for this website, I'll just go for a new tab, but again go for the website. Did it take time like earlier? That gray color screen, podda. Is that how it loaded this screen as well? No, right? So your CPU is really responsible to process the data and show in your screen. So normally when the CPU is processing the data, it will first of all go and ask the cache memory. Okay, it will go and ask the cache memory, hey cache memory, do you have that data stored? Because the cache memory will store the frequently used data. So this image, if I again go and store here, it will come faster. Because why? It was frequently used. So because it was used recently, it comes on the frequently used data. Okay. So normally the CPU is going to process data. It will first of all go and search the cache memory. If the cache memory does not have it, then only it will go and ask the RAM. If the RAM also does not have it, then it will go and get from the secondary memory. Okay, so the reason your computer can sometimes work fast is because the cache memory has the data stored temporarily. So when I'm talking about primary memory, the CPU is again more close with the cache memory than the RAM comparatively. So therefore, I can even give you all marks. I mean, basically, when I'm talking about primary memory, the main failure I'm talking about is cache memory in this situation. Processing data, it'll go and take the data from the cache memory. Is it Riba? Sorry, yeah. What is it, Ira? Okay, my bad. My bad. I'm wrong. Basically, as per the textbook, it's called CPU memory. Let me take it here. Can I take it here? Okay, I'm wrong. It's mentioned as CPU memory. I'll let you know the reason later. I'll double check the reason. But if it has to be a reason, then this should be the main reason. Because whenever the data has to be processed, CPU will first of all go and ask, hey, cache memory, do you have the data? Did you make this website? Because it looks similar. Yeah, all these websites are made by me. Yes, Rushta, exactly, Ira. So yeah, sorry. I'll give marks for cache memory. Yeah, my bad. In Google, first they say register memory, then cache. Actually, register is the more correct answer because register is memory that is there inside the CPU. I had to find the reason why the textbook has mentioned that CPU, you can call this a CPU memory killer. Again, I feel like the reason has to be this because whenever CPU wants data, it to process, like wants to process, it searches for the data from the cache first. So that should be the reason, but I'll double check. But if they ask you what is the memory we have in the in the CPU, the memory in the CPU is register. No, the year did not change, Zaina, because my question was simple. My question was what? The question I asked was, is primary memory or cache memory? Are they there in the CPU? That was my question. That was my question, right? I was like, out of these two, is any of them there in the CPU? Is the yes or no question I asked you first? I said yes. But are both of them there in the CPU? Is primary memory and cache memory, is it a part of the CPU? Is it there inside the CPU? Yes, Hannah. Then where is the answer? The yes or no answer. That was the question. So next, to transmit data to the platter. Platter is basically, oh, this is why you all asked me what is platter. I didn't read the question actually before I gave you all. Platter is a part of the hard disk that stores the data. It's a part of the hard disk that stores the data. If you look at the given answers, the parts of the hard disk given are one is platter, that's a part of the one is the IDE connector, and one is the actuator arm. Both of them are a part of the hard disk. IDE connector is used to exchange data between your computer and the hard disk. Okay, this is used to exchange data between the computer and your hard disk. And if you take the actuator arm, that is used to move the read-write head. The actuator arm is actually used to use what you call move the read-write head, and read-write head is only in charge to transmit data to the platter. So the most precise answer here is the read-write head. But because read-write head is not given, the next most answer is the actuator arm because actuator arm is going to move the read-write head, and based on the movement the read-write head have, only the data is going to be written on the platter. So the answer for D is going to be actuator arm. But actuator arm moves the read-write head. Huh? So here the answer is going to be D. If you're wondering how is the actuator arm and how is the read-write head, it looks like this. So this is how the hard disk looks like. Let me take this picture. So you can see this is called the actuator arm, and read-write head. So that will write the data on the hard disk. This read-write head, this only writes the data on the hard disk. The arm just moves that read-write head. It's like, for example, this is a pen point, and they're the pens holder. Not exactly, huh? You can factually argue. I need facts, not blind, like reasons. Would you please repeat the function of IDE connector? IDE connector is used to exchange data between your computer and the hard disk. So, for example, if you want to send data from your computer to the hard disk, it's done through the IDE connector. So, this is ID in the side. There is no picture here. If you look at the side view, in the side you can see what you called this part, right? And this part, right? This is called the power supply unit. Okay, from here only the current is connected to the computer. Like power is given for the hard disk from here. And this is called the IDE connector. From here only data is transferred to the hard disk. So you can send data or receive data to the hard disk from this IDE connector which you have here. Got it, Ira? Less than a side. Not exactly. Hello. So yeah, that's the answer there. So you got them correct, put half marks each. A is dot matrix, B is thermal, C is cache, D is actuator arm, put half marks each. Again, keep in your mind, if they ask you what is the memory that's there in the CPU, it's register. And if you ask you who is who like writes the data on the platter, like who records the data or obtains the data from the platter, it's read write header. So put half marks each, total 2 marks there. And then the last question for the day. The question is saying a segment of, if you have doubts, drop in chat. I'm checking the chat and answering parallelly. The question is saying the segments of a word process text document is shown below. Some formatting tools available are shown here with P to S. Okay. Identify the tools labeled from P to Q. And so I will identify the formatting task indicated from P to Q and write the letters of the tools. Okay, fine. We have to figure out. Let's first of all look at what are the formattings. The word formatting means changes. Huh? What is the change you can notice that has happened for the label P? Like what has happened to the text? What is it? What is the unnormal thing you all can notice there? Perfect. The text has got darkened. The text has got darkened. And then what do you notice in the label Q? What has happened? Tell me what you all notice. Don't tell me the tool names. Tell me what you can literally see. The text is perfect. The text is slanted. The change you can notice here, the text has been slanted. Perfect. But you can notice in the label R, the text has been perfect. The change you can notice here is the text has been underlined. If you look at S, you can see they have mentioned minus 200 degrees Celsius. To get the degree symbol, they use the letter O and make the letter go come up. So the letter O is going to come up. How do you call that test? The letter has been actually you can direct it in the tool name here. Perfect. That's called superscript. If there's any one of superscript and subscript, always keep in mind if you say the word called super is talking about someone better than you, right? So it's higher than you. So superscript is up and subscript is opposite, it is down. So for example, if you have x squared, see 2 is up, no? So that's basically superscript. 2 is obtained using superscript. But if you have, let's say, 101 base 2, 2 is down, no? So it's called subscript. So subscript is down, superscript is up. Keep that in your mind, okay? Anyways, let's go to the tools. If you look at the tools, the first tool we have here, the tool A, that is called the font style tool. And B is the font size. C is the bold tool. It's used to darken the text. D is the italic tool, which is used to slant the text. E is the underline tool, which is used to underline the text. And so this is called font style. This is called font size. And X squared, you can see it's down. If it's down, it's subscript. If it's up, it's superscript. The tool H is not clear. So I'm not sure exactly what tool H. It looks like border, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Tool I is also not clear. It should be it should be color and highlight or something. H and I is not clear, so I'll ignore that. The tool J is basically the change case tool. It is used to change the selected text between different cases. So we have something called uppercase, lowercase. Uppercase means capital letters, lowercase means simple letters. So if you want to change whatever you typed, all capital, all simple, or first word capital, like that, if you want to change quickly between capital and simple, you can use the change case. And this is the left align. This is the center align. This is the right align. How do you call the alignment that is equal from the left side and right side? How do you call the alignment that's equal for the left margin and right margin? Both the sides equal. There's no space. Perfect. That's called the justify alignment. So these are different alignments we have. ID connector transmits data to platter, so that can also be answered, right? Oh yeah, it exchanges data to the computer. Oh yes, 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 yes. Sorry, 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 sorry. Now, after you said that, I also processed it. When I was saying exchanging data to the, if ID connector is used to exchange data between the computer and hard disk, basically data is coming to the platter through the ID connector. Sorry, 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 sorry. Then yes, ID connector has to be the answer. Thank you for correcting. Because even though the actuator arm holds the read-write head, the data is coming through the ID connector, no? I said it exchange data. I even wrote here exchange data. Why didn't it click me that time? I'm stupid. Correct your answer in Roman number 6. ID connector has to be coming for D. Because that's the one who's going to take the data from the computer and give the hard. I even literally wrote it here, man. Why the heck didn't I even think it? Sad life. So they ask transferring, right? So the tool is a transfer. Transmitting is like move. Transferring is like move, right? Transmit is transfer. So exchange is the same idea, right? But again, like I said, the most suitable answer would be read write head. But if read write head is not given as the answer, I chose actuate arm because read write head is there on the actuate arm. If you'll notice the picture I showed you, the read write head is there on the actuate arm. That's why I gave you read write head. So this is the read write head and the actuate arm. But fair enough. The data is sent to the hard disk through the, but then it should be hard disk, not platter. It should be hard disk, not platter. Because transferring data to the platter is done by read write head. That's 100% correct. And actual arm only helps the read write head move. But data is transmitted. Okay. I think ID connector would be more suitable because the ID connector only helps the transmitting, like movement of data from here to there. So ID connector will be more suitable. Yeah, do that small correction. With the Roman number 6 for D, make sure that you mark ID connector correct, not actuator. But again, just keep in mind, the most suitable answer is read write head because that's the part in charge of writing data. But sir, literally it contributes transfer, right? Because it holds the read write head. Yeah, it holds the read write head, correct. That's why I said extra arm as the answer. But extra arm doesn't transfer the data. The transmitting is done by read write head. That's why I said read write head is the correct answer. Because the purpose of read write action arm is to move the read write head. Give marks for both because technically the correct answer is on the book. Give mark for both because the correct answer is read write head. That's the correct precise answer. If they mention transmitting data to the hard disk means definitely it's ID connector. Huh? Keep in mind, if they mention the word called transferring data to the hard disk from the computer, we are giving data to the hard disk, then it's definitely IDE connector. But because they have mentioned the word called platter, I give marks for both. But again, like I told you, the most suitable answer is read write head. Second most suitable answer is IDE connector. The reason I'm giving you actual arm is because actual arm only helps the read write head move there. So if they have not given read write head, actual arm should have been the correct answer. How much marks is usually allocated for word processing in 2 marks, 2 to 4 marks? Okay, coming back to the Roman number 7. So in Roman number 7, they have asked you to do these respective tasks. What is the tool you use? Okay. To make the text darken, we use a bold tool. So that's going to be label B. So P has to be matched with label B. And to make the text look slanted, what tool do we use? I actually told you a while ago. Correct. To make the tool look text look slanted, we have the so it's bold tool. So bold tool is C. Yes, it's an italic tool, which is basically D. And then to make the text look underlined, what is the tool we have? Perfect. To underline the text, we have the tool E. And then to superscript a text, I mentioned here as well, X squared, that is tool G. So tool G is superscript and tool F is subscript. I'll tell you the fun fact. In this question paper, Roman number 7 was extracted from oral paper. This is an oral question. Roman number 3 is directly, again, directly, that means without any changes. Without any changes, either from oral paper or provincial paper. Roman number 3 and Roman number 6, 7, it was directly, it's from another paper. This is not the first. I have seen the same exact question somewhere else. Roman number 5, they have used saying the words, I guess, like only the name they have changed. But again, the question was there in one of the old papers. So technically, if you notice, majority of these questions are there in all Pakka copied. This is Vishaka paper. Anyways, with that, we are done for the day. Those who have any questions or can stay and ask, others you can leave. Oh, wait, your marks. Tell me how many marks you all got out of. I got your marks early, right? Did I get your marks for this page? Yes, I got. Out of 4 marks, how many marks you all got? We can put half marks each here. Here also half marks into 4. So 2 marks for Roman number 7, 2 marks for Roman number 6. Out of 4 marks, how many marks you all got? You scared me. Yeah, I thought that I asked all the marks. Then I remembered I didn't ask all the marks. Those 2 questions are easy. Is it really in oral paper? Yeah, it's in oral paper. I can't remember the year though. You're welcome. Wait, Rashta. What is the most suitable one for D? Out of the given options or in reality? In reality, it's read write head. Because that is who is in charge to read and write data on the hard disk. What exactly, Zura? What's that B thing that you wrote? Where? What do you mean, Hana? I didn't. Which B? Yes, Shaza. Give me a moment. I'll reply. Wait. Okay, Shaza and Rushta, your questions. I'll pray and come and reply. Wait, that's a separate question. This B. Hana, I referring to this B. No, that seventh question need the answer. Seventh question need the answer. Where have I written B? You mean D? In seventh question, I put P, C, Q is D, R is E, S is G. Where is B, man? Yeah, yeah, buddy. We have already done it in the class actually, majority. But we'll be doing it again, don't worry. I remember the last class you cut your hair, but now I didn't cut I cut it this Sunday, man. We had the extra class on Sunday, not last Wednesday class. Below the answer in orange color, the mark distribution. I have mentioned 0.5 into 4. Oh, this is not B, man. This is brackets. Brackets 0.5 into 4. That's B, sorry. It's the same level. It's just that I didn't comb there. You're welcome. Bye. That's fine. That's fine. It looks like a B. It makes sense. Okay, Shahad, I'll reply your question after. Those who want, you can stay and wait for that discussion if you want. What do you call it was a spreadsheet question, eh? Yeah, it's a spreadsheet question. So those who want, you can stay. And there was a logic gate question Rushta asked as well. So if you all want, you all can stay. I'll pray and come and discuss this. Anyway, anyone have any question related to what we learned today? No, I mean, I accept. I got it in a good way. Okay, it's 7:18 now. I'll give you around 7 minutes, around 7:25. I'll start discussing this. Those who are jobless, you can do this question. I'll discuss at 7:25. Again, paper class is over. I'm just clarifying doubts you all have. So if you all want, you all can stay and do your wish. I'll be back. I hope I answered all the questions you asked. Only one person's answer, I missed it at Hassan's or whatever. It was out of, like, I was out of context that time. Anyways, to this question, I'll be back. Saja, give me a couple of minutes. I'll be back, okay? So instead of 7:25, I'll discuss at 7:30. Zuha, if you're here, I'm discussing basically doubt, Shaza's doubt. When Shaza, I don't know how do you should I pronounce your name. Anyways, I'll be back. Wait. Okay, sorry on the gap. Understandable, Shaza. Shaza. Should I call you Shaza or Shaza? Shaza. Okay, Shaza. Okay, so the question here is following part of the spreadsheet represents the channeling charges of Sewer Medical Center on 8th of. We zoom out a bit. Can't I zoom in? All right, okay. Of Sewer Medura Medical Center on 8th of August 2023. Perfect. So the question is saying write down the appropriate formula to find the income received by Dr. Prasanna. Where is Dr. Prasanna? Here is Dr. Prasanna. So they want to find out the doctor's income for channel services in cell E4. Okay, here they want to find how much his income is. Right. So basically, if you look at the spreadsheet, you can see his doctor called Dr. Prasanna. Okay, you can see the doctor called Dr. Prasanna. He has consulted 52 patients and his charges per patient is 2,300. Right. So if his per patient's charge is 2,300, and if you have consulted 52 patients, that means the amount of money he has made is 119 now. So how can we get the 119? By multiplying 52 by 2,300, which is multiplying the C4 by D4. So normally in spreadsheets and writing formulas, without writing direct values, it's always recommended to use cell address. So answer is going to be something like this. Is that clear? Perfect. Then the second question, write the formula as it appears in cell E8. E8. So if you take E8, in E8 for what you call cell, we are finding Dr. Satara Singha's income, right? So to get Dr. Satara Singha's income, here to get how many patients he got and what's his price per patient. So in this situation, it's going to be something like his patient is going to be there in C8 and his price per patient is there in D8. So answer is going to be C8 into D8. Clear? Okay. If 20% is charged as center charges, can understand, but equal symbol has to be there. If you use the numbers instead of using cell address, is it wrong? Most probably they won't give you marks because that's not the purpose of spreadsheet. The purpose of spreadsheet is to simplify your answers. So writing numbers, they don't give marks normally. So 20% is charges, center charges. We can there mention it here as well. From a doctor for facilitating the channel service. Write the formula to find the center charges in cell F4. Where is F4? That's here. F4. From a doctor for a channeling service. Write the formula to find the percentage center charges in cell F4. Okay. If you copy the formula, okay, they are saying if you want to find the formula, if you want to find Dr. Prasanna's what do you call center charge, that means how much he has to pay for this medical center. Okay. You can so they have asked you to find the amount of he has to pay. And the question is also mentioned that 20% has to be paid, right? So we write a formula there. So if you go through the spreadsheet, like I told you a while ago, that 20% is mentioned here, right? So using that 20%, we have to do something. So what you can do is to get this 23,920, what you can do is you can multiply the total amount he got by the 20%, right? So your formula here can be something like E4 into F2. Again, we don't have to write to F2 divided by 100 because you can see the 20% is mentioned now. So if the percentage symbol is already mentioned here, the meaning of 20% is basically 20 divided by 100. So already the divide by 100 is already there in that. When the percentage symbol is there, always keep in mind the divide by 100 is already included there. So you don't have to separately mention. Directly what you can do is you can take the total amount he got and multiply by that F2. Is that clear? Is it okay if I write as E4 into 0.2? No. Always you use cell address. I mean, if they have not mentioned this 20% here, then fine. But because they had mentioned it, you have to use cell address. Got it? Maximum, you have to try to avoid using numbers and your focus. Okay, so there's a problem in this formula. If you look at the question properly, the question has mentioned copying this formula should also enable to find the center charges for other doctors. So they are saying if I copy this formula for others, it should work properly as well. So for example, if I copy and paste here, it should work here properly as well. Now spreadsheet has a special feature. When you copy and paste formulas, one thing in the formula will change. What is that thing that will change? In spreadsheet, when you copy paste formula, there's a thing in the formula that can change. What is it? I'll give you a hint. So a formula can contain different things. A formula can contain text. More than text, I'll mention a formula can contain the equal symbol. Formula can contain numbers. Formula can contain symbols. We call this symbol as arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. And the formula can contain functions. And the formula can contain cell address. So out of these 5 components, which one do you think will change when you copy a formula from one cell and paste it onto another cell? So do I correct? Shad, what do you think? Just give me a guess. Yes. When you copy paste formulas, out of these 5, the cell address will change. So for example, if you look at this situation here, if I copy the formula from, let's say, this cell, and if I go and paste it onto this cell, I'm jumping how many cells? I'm jumping 1, 2, 3 cells down now. So if I go 3 cells down, all of my cell address will also go 3 cells down. So for example, if I had the formulas E4 into F2, okay, if the copied formula was E4 into F2, then after I paste it, this cell address will also go 3 cells down. So from E4 cell, if you go 3 cells down, we have E7. From F2 cell, if you go 3 cells down, we have F5. That's 3 cells down. Okay. Now, if you go and see, is it correct? Is E7 cell correct for this one? Yes, E7 is correct. In E7, we have the total charge, so E7 is correct. In F5, do we have the percentage? No, this is wrong. So when you're copy pasting formula, if you want the cell address not to change, then we do something called as absolute cell referencing. So absolute cell referencing is done that the cell address or else a part of the cell address does not change. Okay. So you can control that by using the dollar symbol. So for example, if I have the cell address as F2, when I copy paste the formula, if I want the column name not to change, then I can mention $F2. Now here column name will be fixed, locked. If I mention $2, now I have the dollar symbol in front of the row now. So the row is going to be protected. So it will be fixed. It will not change. Okay. Now if you noticed here, when I copy for all of the cells, I want the F2 not to change. This F2 is there. This F2 should be for all the cells. It has to be F2. So I want that not to change. But by default, you can see when I copy it, if I copy the F2 from here and paste it here, F2 will become F3. Here it's F4. Here it's F5. So because I want it not to change, what I'm going to do is, without writing the formula like this, the better way of writing that formula is by using absolute cell reference. I'm going to write it like this. E4 into F$2. You can write F$2. You can also write $F$2. Both are correct. Huh? This is also correct. This is also correct. Is that clear? So the reason we have the dollar symbol is so that when we copy and paste, still that row number will be same. It will not change. Make sense? If you have doubts, ask her. What is the formula used to find the charges of Dr. Prasanna in cell G4? G4. Okay, that means they are asking what is the profit or what's the amount at the end of the day the doctor will get. So if he is getting an income of 119, and from that if he has to pay the hospital 23,000, the profit is going to get 95,000. You can get that by basically writing a formula like this. The formula can be equals the total amount he has obtained, which is then the E4 cell. From there, you will subtract the amount he's going to give for the hospital. That's then the F4 cell. So E4 minus F4. Got it? Perfect. Write down the formula to find the total charges in F11. F11, the total charges as functions L1 to L2. Okay, so they are saying you want to find the total amount the hospital has received from every doctor. So you can see 23,000 was obtained from Prasanna, 24,000 from Hemachandra, 11,000 from Kelum. So from each doctor, they've got a separate amount now. You want to find the total profit. So for that, we can use a function called sum. Sum function is used to add multiple values together. And what are the range of values we're adding? We're adding this range of values from here to here. So always when I'm mentioning cell range, you mention from left side top to right side bottom, from here to here. So left side top, if you take it's this, right side bottom, if you take it's this. There is no left and right because one column. So the top cell address is F4, the last cell address is F10. So answer is going to be equal sum F4 to F10, something like this. Got it, Shazam? So I'm going to add all those values. So sum is the function used to add values together. Next, if a chart is prepared to show the income that received from each doctor, write down a suitable chart. So if you want to show, okay, this doctor got this amount, this got this amount, you can choose any chart you want. Because the question is saying just showing no. So you can use any chart. Without using the word called show, if they have used the word called compare or to differentiate, okay, if they use the word called compare, then keep in mind you can't use pie chart. But if they have not used the word called compare, if they have just mentioned show, any charts are possible. Which means you can use pie chart, you can use bar chart, you can use column chart, you can use line chart, you can use XY scalar chart. All are correct. Got it? Yes, remind me the next class, Suraya. You can choose it. It's a selection question, but you can easily get marks in spreadsheet. Because spreadsheet is a lesson, you can easily get 10 marks. If you look at the questions, you can see how easy the questions are. Don't worry, we'll be doing spreadsheet questions as well in the paper class. So from that, you will be able to catch up. Is there any other question, Shazam? This is actually a first term paper. Got the row number 2 wrong. Sadly. Probably you would have missed the absolute cell reference. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Ruchita, let me take your question now. Ruchita here, right? Hmm. Okay. First question they asked, what are the gates used? So these are the OR gate. Sorry. Front of the OR gate, they have mentioned circle as well, right? They should not color this. Coloring is wrong. Technically, the OR gate should be like this. You can't color this circle. So yeah, because they have colored the circle, this is called the NOR gate. This is called the NAND gate. And this is called the NAND gate. So the first question asking what are the gates? So the gates used is NOR gate and the NAND gate. Is that clear? Perfect. Write down the relevant Boolean expression for Z. Okay, let's go one by one. So if I take this NOR gate we have, the input for this NOR gate is X and Y. So I write the input with a space X and Y. To represent NOR gate, we use two symbols, the plus in between and dash for the whole thing. Okay, so X plus Y whole thing dash. That's the result of this NOR gate. Is that clear? Sometimes we color that circle, right? No, we don't color. Why not x dash plus y dash? Because that's because NOR gate is basically okay. This NOR gate is equivalent to OR gate going through NOT gate. So for example, if x and y was going through the OR gate, the result that will be here. Okay, the result we will be getting here in this portion. The result will be x and y is going through the OR gate. To represent OR gate, the result is going to be plus. So the output of this is going to be x plus y. Is that part clear? Okay. If you do the NOT gate, for the NOT gate, are we getting x and y separately? Are we getting two inputs for the NOT gate? No. See, NOT gate has only one input. What is the input we are getting? X plus y. So what will NOT gate do? It will take the input. For the input, it will add dash. So here the input is not x and y separately. The input is x plus y whole thing. So that's why the dash is added for the whole thing. Make sense? Is it sure? Maybe by mistake. Because there's another gate called XOR gate. XOR do you follow? I forgot how the XOR gate looks like. Oh no, XOR gate is just line. Anyways, come back to the plot. So if you look at that pattern and if you look at this NAND gate, for this NAND gate, the input from the top is bottom is X and top. Again, this is not the correct way of drawing it. If you show the top cutting up and down. Anyways, X and Y is the input here. So because X and Y is the input, I'm writing the input with a space. To replace the NAND gate, we are a dot in between and whole thing dash. Is that clear? Because NAND is opposite of AND gate. At the dot and whole thing dash. Is that clear to Krishna? Perfect. Now we come for the third gate. Again, another NAND gate. For this NAND gate, the input from the top is basically x dot x plus y whole thing dash. X plus y whole thing dash. Because the input has multiple characters, I'm adding the brackets. The input from the bottom is x dot y whole thing dash. X dot y whole thing dash. Again, because the input has multiple characters, I'm adding the brackets. So this is one input, the another input. In NAND gate, between the input, we have the dot. For the whole input, we have the dash. So this is the answer for question B. Got it? How can I put dash separate? Like I told you, we are putting the symbol for the respective input. So the input here was a full thing. Barakallah Shaza. Oh, understandable. Yeah, sure, Shaza. But there are two inputs now. Okay, so like I told you, what do you mean by NAND gate? This is what you mean by NAND gate. If you have a NAND gate like this, the meaning of NAND gate is basically the AND gate's result going through the NOT gate. So if it was AND gate, what will be the result for the AND gate? One of the input for the AND gate is going to be x plus y whole thing dash. What's the bottom input for the AND gate? X dot y whole thing dash. So if these two inputs go through the AND gate, the result of the AND gate will be x dot y whole thing dash dot x dot y whole thing dash. This will be the result coming from here. So if it is the NOT gate is not getting both of them separately. NOT gate is getting the whole thing. Makes sense? NAND gate is basically AND gate and NOT gate used together. When there is double bar, we can cut them at yes, yes, yes. Where? Here is not double bar. Gap in between them. These two are not the same. Huh? This is different and this is different. Next, form the truth table for Z. Okay, to form the truth table, first of all, you should know for the complete circuit, what are the inputs we have. For the whole circuit, what are the inputs you have? X and Y. And then for every output, you're going to have one column. So for the NOR gates output, X plus Y whole thing dash. For the orange gates output, X dot Y whole thing dash. For the green gates output, X plus Y whole thing dash dot X dot Y whole thing dash and whole thing dash. So let's go step by step. No, Yumna. Now, if you look at this whole situation, X and Y are the only inputs. So you can figure out the number of rows. You can figure out the number of possibilities you can use in that. Okay. So each row represent a situation. Each row represent a situation. So you can figure out the number of situation using an equation. Okay. So situation is equal to the number of situations are equal to number of situations are equal to 2 to the power number of inputs. So here X and Y are the only input. So if there are two inputs, that means 2 to the power 2, which means four situations can be there. That's why I'm drawing a table here with four rows. So if there are two inputs, using two inputs, you can form four situations. Is that clear? Okay. So there's a pattern of filling this. You can go for the right side corner input and just go in the pattern of filling of 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Here, just go on filling. Next column, double it. Here, if you use 1, 0 and 1, 1, here double of. Here you're going to use double. Double means how much? Two zeros, two ones. If there was another column, double of two. Four zeros, four ones. So you just go double, 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 and just go on filling it like that. So first column, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Every other column towards the left, you double it. Is that clear? Perfect. Now we are going to fill this X plus Y whole thing dash. First, let's go step by step. X plus Y means we are going to go and check, is any of the inputs 1? Is any of the inputs 1 in the first row? No. So no is represented using 0. And you can see X plus Y whole thing dash. Dash means opposite of that. So opposite of 0 is? So I'm going to write 1 here. Same way here also. I'm going to check, is any of the inputs 1? Is any of the inputs 1 in the second row? Yes. Opposite of yes is? No. So I go and check, is any of the inputs 1? And I'll write the opposite of that. X plus Y will check, is any of the inputs 1? Dash will be the opposite of that. So third row, I again come and check, is any of the inputs 1? Yes. The opposite of that? No. Is any of the inputs 1? Yes. Opposite of that? No. Is this clear? Perfect. The next one I have here is X dot Y whole thing dash. Now you take X dot Y. X dot Y will go and check. Okay, the part called X dot Y is there at X dot Y will go and check, is all the inputs 1? Is all the inputs 1 here? No. And what is the opposite of no? Yes. Because X dot Y is no, and we have put X dot Y whole thing dash. Dash will give you the opposite. Okay. So if X dot Y is 0, opposite of 0 is 1, something like that. Okay. Now second row, is all the inputs 1? Again, no. Opposite of no is yes. So you fill that as well. So that same pattern, you go and check. The third row, is all the inputs 1? No. Opposite of no is yes. Fourth row, is all the inputs 1? Yes. Opposite of yes is no. Then that's how you fill this row. Is that clear? How I fill that row? Perfect. Now in the last, can't I simply take the opposite of X plus Y dash? No. You can't do that. How do you know that? And it's not opposite. If it's opposite, then the last one should be can't be same. No? Here, last one both are zero. No? If it's opposite, then both of these can't be zero. No? And if it's opposite, the first two rows also can't match. No? There is no, you can't directly say NAND gate is basically equal to the opposite of NOR gate. If you say NAND gate is equal to the opposite of NOR gate, that means you're indirectly saying that NAND gate is equal to OR gate. Is NAND gate equal to OR gate? No, that's wrong. What made you think like that? Mhm. So in this equation, the last column you can see in the last column, the last part here is x dot y whole thing dash. And the first one is x plus y whole thing dash. Okay. So you can see that pink color output and yellow color output, they both of them are going to go through the NAND gate. Okay. So you can see the pink color output and yellow color output, both of them are going to go to NAND gate. NAND gate will go and check the opposite of AND gate. AND gate is going to check are both the inputs one. Are both the inputs one? Yes. What is the opposite of yes? No. So I'm going to write 0 here. Again, same. NAND gate is going to go and check are both the inputs one? No. Opposite of no is yes. NAND gate is going to go and check are both the inputs one? No. Opposite of no is yes. NAND gate is going to go and check are both the inputs one? No. Opposite of no is yes. So NAND gate is basically opposite of AND gate. I check the AND gate result and either is the opposite of that. So if we draw the truth table, this is how the truth table is going to look like. Is this clear? Got it? Perfect. Next question. If x equals 1 and y equals 0, find the value of z. You can use the table itself. If x equals 1 and y equals 0, x is 1, y equals 0. Tell me out of first row, second row, third row, fourth row, which row are they talking about? Out of the first, second, third, fourth, which row are they referring to? X equal to 1, y equals 0. Perfect. Third row. So in third row, if x equals 1 and y equals 0, what is the value of z? Are you blind? Z is the last final output, which is the last column here. So if x is 1 and y is 0, exactly, Z is 1. So that is how you do this question. You got it? Perfect. And your second question was, do you have any other questions in this logic gate? Okay. 8 times, the values obtained as an array called n. So there's array called n, it seems. And the array called n is storing the values obtained after rolling a dice 8 times. So first time, second time, third time, fourth time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the results of all are there here. Write the substitutes for A, B, C, D. A is here, B is here, C is here, D is here. In the flowchart below, prepared for the number of times that 5 or more is obtained. Okay. So we are going to, the purpose of this flowchart is to check how many times, okay, how many times the number 5 or greater than 5 is obtained. Let's go to the program. If you go to the flowchart, you can see there's a variable called count. There's a variable called t. There's a variable called nt. Yes, these are the only variables. So now we have to figure out purpose for each of them. Now nt, n is basically the name of the array. If n is going to be the name of the array, that means t is going to be used to store what? If this is used to store the name of the array, in square brackets, what do we normally mention for a question? No. In square brackets, we mention something called as the index, also known as position. Index starts from how much? Normally, if we take index, what is the starting value of any index? Yes. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So that means we can figure out, okay, that means t is the variable that's used to represent the index. Okay. Because they have mentioned a nt, that means t has to be the variable that's used to represent index. So what do you think the purpose of count variable would be? Because if you look at the program, there is an error in this program. There is an error in this program. The error is actually this has to be a parallelogram. That time you can't do this question. Anyways, what do you think the purpose of count variable is going to be? What is in this question? What are we counting basically? Not how many times anything is obtained, how many times five or more is obtained. Is that clear? Perfect. So before we start the program, what do you think the value of count is going to be? That means before you even check what are the values here, how much do you think the value of count has to be? How do you know that the person is given five at least once? How do you know he has given the a value that's greater than or equal to five at least once? What's the proof you have? Then, if you don't know how many times he has, what should be a value in your head? If I come and ask you, what should be the answer? Before you check. Before you check, what's the answer? Zero. Because before you check, because this is before we check, huh? See, we still did not go through each of the values in the array. So before we check the array, the count of number of times he has got five is going to be zero. Is that clear? Perfect. And t is used to represent the index, right? So mostly if you take an array, in array the starting index is going to be how much? Zero. So let's take b also to be zero. So you're going to go and check, is 0 less than 8? See, normally you can see we have to go through each and every values, right? So that's why you can see we are going through the numbers that are less than 8. See, 0 to 7 are the numbers less than 8. So we're going to first of all go and check, is 0 less than 8? The answer is yes. Okay. So then we are going to go and check, is nt? That means in the array in index t, for the first time we're going to run t is 0 no. So we are going to go and check in the array in index 0, the value we have, is it greater than or equal to someone? Is it greater than or equal to how much? What's the purpose of this program? To find if the value in the array is greater than or equal to how much? 9? Why 9? Why 9? Why are we going to go and find the value we have in a specific element? So we call this element. Why should you go and find the value in this element? Let's say, why do you want to find the value you have here? Is it greater or equal to 9? You want to find it. What's the purpose? What are you going to do by that answer? Okay, Surya, why 8? Pushta, tell me why 9. Surya, tell me why 8. Surya, second answer is correct. What is the purpose of this program, Pushta? What is the purpose of the program? To see if it is less than. Who said? Show me in which line have they mentioned that? The question has three lines, right? In which line have they mentioned that? I asked you what is the purpose of the program? What is the purpose of the program? Without looking at the flowchart, you want to be able to tell the purpose. Purpose is in the question. Number of times five or more is obtained. So how do you know the five or more is obtained? What should you do practically? Practically, if you want to see is five or more obtained, what should you do? How do you know if five or more is obtained? Okay, I'll give you a simple answer. Let's say this array had the number of times this person got Okay, let's say the array had the answer for the number of times he has so let's say the array has the scores this person obtained for every round. This is score he got. I'm going to ask you the question: how many times he got an answer? He got a number. What is the number I wrote here? So let's say my question is: how many times he got a value greater than or equal to 5? What's your answer? Four. Okay, what are the tell me which index are those four values there in? Tell me the index of those four values. Tell me the index of those four values. 1304. 1304. So like go and tell digital answer that you don't know to count. You're telling me 3 is greater than 5. Are you telling me 3 is greater than 5? Then then what? So how many times is a number greater than or equal to 5 is obtained? 2. Exactly. So how do you know the answer is 2? What did you do to find the answer 2? Did you close your eyes and tell the answer? Then what did you do to find the answer? What did you read or how did you read? Exactly. So step is what? You go and check what is the number we have, and then you go and check the number we have, is it greater than or equal to how much? You went and saw is the number exactly. You went and saw is the number greater than or equal to 5. So here we are going to go and check in the array in index t. That means initially t was 0. No, here we saw. So you're going to go and check in the index 0, the value we have, is it greater than or equal to 5? So C is going to be representing 5. Is that clear? Why 5? Then how much do you think it should be? Then what did you go and seek? You went and saw the value we have here. What did you go and see? You went and saw the value is greater than or equal to how much? Now in index 0, what is the amount we have? 6. You went and saw 6 is greater than or equal to how much? 5, right? Then what do you mean by why 5? That's the purpose of the question. We're going to go and check the value we have in that index. Is it greater than or equal to 5? What do you mean by why 5? What do you mean by you don't know? Ask me a question. If you're still confused, ask me what's your question. Because unless I know what your question is, I can't answer. So tell me what your question is. If you're saying not 5, then what do you think the answer there is going to be? Why can't it be 8? Okay, why should it be 8? Tell me. Because it's rare. If you're saying it should be 8, then why should it be 8? Because it's rolled 8 times. So are we checking 8 times? But what is being checked there? What do you mean by NT? What does NT mean? No. NT means array in index T. So when what was the value of T when you're running the program and we came for this position? What was the value T had? T is a variable. Huh? What was the amount T had? 0. So what do you mean by end 0? End 0 means the array in index 0. So what is the amount we have in array in index 0? If you look at my sample example amount, like my example, 6. So you have to go and check it's greater than or equal to how much? 5. That thing which was saying 8 is there, right? That is already done here, man. Can't you see? We have already checked. This 8 part is there, right? That is done here. To know that we are going through 8 ways, to control the number of times we are repeating. This is the one that's going to go and control the number of times repeating. This is going to make sure that we go one by one. That's the 8 is done here. Here we are going to go and check the value we have in the respective index. Is that value greater than or equal to 5? Makes sense? And if it is greater than or equal to, we are going to increase count. Because like I told you earlier, count was a variable used to store how many times we got a value more than 5, right? So we're going to increase the value of count only if the amount we have is greater than 5. Make sense? See, the amount we have, the element nt means array in index t. So we're going to go and see the value we have there, is it greater than or equal to 5? Only if it was greater, we're going to increase the value. Because for example, when you went through these answers, you first of all went through the first value, right? After you went through the first value, you went and saw, is the first value greater than 5? Only when it was greater than 5, you were like, okay, I found one value. So when you were at this point, you found only one value. When you came here also, so far only one value, so far only one value, so far only one value. After you came to this point, so far how many values you have found? That's greater than or equal to 5? 2. So how did you get that 2? You went and saw, is this value greater than or equal to 5? Because it was greater, now you increase the count to 2. So you change the value of count only when that element's value is greater than or equal to 5, right? Same thing is happening here. We're going to go and check, is nt greater than or equal to 5? Which means array in index t is amount greater than 5. Only if the amount is greater than 5, so you increase the value of count. Got it? Did you get it? I'm asking. Yes or no? There is nothing called yes and no. If you want, I can allow you to unmute. You want to unmute? Then ask. Anyways, so we are going to check the value. Now t equals t plus 1. So value of t is increasing. Earlier t was 0. So after you follow this instruction, what will be the new value of t? T will become 1. So now we're going to go and check, is t less than 8? Is 1 less than 8? Is 1 less than 8? Is 1 less than 8? Yes. So we're going to come down. Here we have, is nt greater than or equal to c? That means now we're going to see, is nt greater than or equal to c? Now t is how much? Currently t is how much? 1. So we are going to go and see array in index 1, is that amount greater than or equal to 5? In array in index 1, what is the amount we have? In my example amount, 3. So we are going to go and check, is 3 greater than or equal to 5? Yes or no? No. So because it's no, you can see we are skipping this count part and directly going here. See, we're coming to this yes part only when the value is more than 5. Does it make sense now? Hmm. So it keeps on repeating again and again. And once you have checked all the elements, for example, let's say you're done checking seventh element. So let's say NT was N7. So let's say you're coming going went and check is N7 greater than or equal to C. So N7 is greater than or equal to 5. The value you have in N7 is 1, no? So you're going to go and check is 1 greater than or equal to 5. Is 1 greater than or equal to 5? Yes or no? No. So you're going to come for this instruction T equals T plus 1. So currently, if T was 7, after you follow this instruction, T will become how much? 8. You come and check is 8 less than 8. Is 8 less than 8? Yes or no? No. So that means we are done checking all the values in the array. We have checked one by one, we checked all the arrays, all the values. So once you're done checking all the values in the array, now what should you do? Before the program ends, what should we do? I'm asking before we end the program, what should we do? What should we display? No, Surya, we are not rolling dice here actually. This program is done after the rolling dice is done, not before rolling dice is done. Why should you display invalid? Rushta, what's the purpose of displaying invalid? There's no purpose. Before ending the program, what should be displayed? If you're saying display, what should be displayed? What was the purpose of this program? The whole flowchart is what was the purpose? To see if more obtained fire. Okay. After you know how many times fire more was obtained, what is the purpose the computer is going to have the answer for itself? What is the purpose? It's like, for example, you're asking the computer a question, it's finding the answer. What is the purpose which finds the answer and keep it for itself? Is there a purpose? No. So then what should the computer do after it finds the answer? Hmm. It has to output it. So what are we finding here in this program? What is a variable we have been finding? As a variable, we have been finding the value of it. What is a variable? T. Did we find T? Did we find T? Okay, how did we find T? Tell me, okay, if you're saying we found T, how did we find T? Now, if you're going to find something, find based on something, no? How did we find T? What was the logic behind finding T? T is a fixed value, man. See, T equals T plus 1. It's a fixed value. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a fixed value. There's nothing to find there. We're not finding T. What did we find here? What is the purpose of the flowchart? Again, I'm saying, what is the purpose? If you know the purpose, you know the answer. Exactly. We want to find the number of times that 5 or more was obtained. In which variable have we stored the answer of how many times we have got 5 or more? There's a variable where we have stored the answer of how many times we have got the value 5 or more. Which variable? Exactly. The purpose of the count variable is to, itself to store how many times we have got a value that's equal or greater than 5. So before the program finishes, you display the value of 5. So display the value of count. So this is going to be display count. Got it? You're out of focus. We're focused on the question. It's fine. Always know that before the program finishes, it's like, for example, you're finding that the number of times is two, but is there a purpose of you finding and keeping your head the answer without telling it to me? You have found, okay, the two times it's more than five. No. So before the program ends, you're supposed to give me back the answer. So count is used to store how many times we have got the five, a number that's greater than or equal to five. But after you find it, you have to give it back for the user. And that's what you call the display count is used for. Make sense? What do you mean by okay, man? I get irritated when you say okay. Who is your English teacher? I'm seriously asking a question. Who is your English teacher? Okay is not an answer for when someone comes and say you yes. If they come and ask you a question using the word called what, the answer for a what question is never okay. Okay is an answer you can give for a command. If someone said do this, do that, then you can say okay. But if someone asks you a question using the word called what, okay is not the answer. If I ask you, did you understand? You have two options, yes or no. Or does it make sense? Yes or no. What is the time? You answer. You can't say okay. Those are not okay kind of questions. So when I ask, does it make sense? If it makes sense, tell yes. If it does not make sense, tell what doesn't make sense. Tell no one. Tell me what you can understand. Like why isn't this? Or how did you get this? If you want to understand things, you can do two things. You ask questions on why is this, or why isn't this? Exactly, Surya. Either you can ask, for example, why is C 5? Or your question should be, why is C not 8? You ask both the questions to understand if it doesn't make sense. Anyways, do you have any questions? Can you say the Pascal program for this? Do you really want it? It's too long. It's not hard, it's too long. It's an unwantedly long program. And if you want to give the idea of how you should write the program, because it's unwanted repetition, there's no purpose. First of all, you mention the name of the program. Second, you have to do the variable declaration. So there are two variables they have used, count and t. So declare those two variables as integer. Third thing is you have to do something called as what you call after declare variables, declare the array as well. So there's array called n. So after declare that there's a variable called count and t, you have to mention there's an array called t and declare that. So once you're done writing the name of the program and declaring array and variables, now you can start the main program. So the more main program, you can say count equals 0, t equals 0, and you can use this is actually a while loop. So you mention while t is less than 8. So while t is less than 8, you can mention if nt is greater than c, then count equals count plus 1. And then you'll have your t equals t plus 1. And then actually after the word call while, after the count equals 0, t equals 0, after you have while, here there has to be begin. And here there has to be end with semicolon. Then after the end with semicolon, here there will be something like display count. Okay, there will be something here called display count, and then here the end of the program. So that's the order. Basically, I have to type all this, and I'm lazy to type at the moment. You do and come, I'll correct your answer. I'll not spoon feed you. You do the answer and come, I'll correct your answer. Without writing display count, is it correct if I write display output? What do you mean by display output? It doesn't make sense. Because the word output doesn't have a meaning, right? If you're considering output to be if you're considering output to be a variable, give me a moment. My phone is gonna die. If you're saying display output, that means the word call output has to be variable name. But is a word call output a variable? No. So display output is wrong because display and output are synonyms. It's like, for example, you're saying enter give. Does enter give me has a meaning? Okay. Like enter give, it doesn't make sense. But if I say enter name, does it have meaning? Like if I say enter give, not enter give me or say enter give, that doesn't make sense. But enter name, yes, we are asking to enter the name. But if you take enter and give, both of them are having the same meaning. They are synonyms. So display and output, it's just synonyms, same names. So you can mention display count, you can mention output count. Both are same. So display and output are basically synonyms, similar names. Got it? Perfect. Anyone having any other questions here? Barakallah, bye. Any questions? No. Okay, then I'll end the class.